in a minute or whatever, that's like an issue for me. I'm not sure. Oh shit.
We are live right in the middle of listening to Mary have a little soliloquy about Taika Waititi. But I don't know how much people actually caught of it, so I think we're good.
I didn't know you were going live. You didn't say anything. I was just babbling.
He did. He just said it quietly.
Well, Mary was just so loud that it was tough to hear, I think. But I did say it. But
Mary's such an ass.
Well, you know, that's what they say. What an ass. What a bitch. What a cuck. That's usually a name that's said frequently here on this channel because he's a patron of mine. But hello, everybody. It is Sunday. It's a Sunday stream with two of my favorite people in all of YouTube and the world. 19K Fox. 19K Fox.
Look at this guy.
Here. What's going on, brother?
Wow, what an intro. I am blessed and honored. Thank you so much for having me, Ryan.
Of course, of course. And also we have, with, I will say, maybe the best background I have ever seen, Mary Mayhem.
I fucking hate you. I gotta change my background now. Damn it. Hold on. There's got to be something different here I can use. Anything but yours. I don't know
what happened when Fox do that again. It like changed your screen.
Yeah, you like that?
There. I like that better.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Fox, you sexy beast.
What a wonderful, delicious beverage in my Mary Mayhem cup. She's on my mind and she's in my cup.
I will be in your cup anytime, Fox. Anytime.
There you go.
Guys, get to shipping, man. I'm all about that, Fox.
There we go.
Thiago says you're just waiting for Pixelated Ryan. You may not have to wait long. I was having some issues earlier. I think it was just an excess of tabs open. I think that it was like 25 tabs or something. That may be the limit. I may have found the limit for this computer. So
I tried to give him some free advice about, hey, if you need a link later, man, just DM it to yourself. But Ryan doesn't listen to anything anyone says ever. So
the man charges his own.
I hope you do pixelate. Asshole. Sorry.
That's all right. It's very nice of you, Mary. I'm glad I had you on the channel.
Thrilled to be here.
But let's see who's here in chat right now. We have Mark here. Did Ryan meet up with Gary? Not yet. Not yet. I know Gary's a busy man. I know he's hanging out down here in the San Diego area. However, that is a very big area. If you've never been to California, it's like San Diego County is freaking enormous. It's not like, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Indiana. So when I think of a county, I think of somewhere that's, maybe like 30 minutes straight driving. You can get across it. Not here, not in California. San Diego's huge, but hopefully I will. That'll be nice. Bionic doesn't know. Well, it's a secret. Therese is here. Matt G is here. Who else?
Matt G's awesome.
Matt G is awesome. Grand Admiral Adam. It should be better than the Packers 49ers game. Well, I'm also watching that right now. I'm not really paying attention to it, but I know that the 49ers are winning handily. And that is what I predicted in Sports Wars. So that's always a good thing.
Have the Packers even scored yet?
No. The only scoring that Aaron Rodgers has done with Danica Patrick, I believe. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty good thing for him.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. What is this?
Name one and I'll do it right now. Mary Mayhem.
What is this one? What is watching paint dry would be better than that game? Huh. I don't know. I don't know exactly what Bionic is talking about.
I feel like I named something that I'd like for her to do, Mary Mayhem. So get to it.
That's an order.
She said she would.
Josue Vieja. I don't know. Hello, Ryan Kinel, RK Outpost. Hello, Josue. Good to see you.
Hola.
We got Trey Courtney in the house. What's up, Trey? How you doing, brother? Trey is one of those release the Snyder Cut people. The kinds that I like hanging around. So
God, you people are annoying.
Yeah, I know, right? Lou is here. What is this, Gary? I'm enforcing a strict V-neck uniform. I can support that. I heard there's some Knights of Krista going around. There's a new Knights of Krista, and I said one thing. I said one thing because a picture of Darth Barbie has a crossguard lightsaber, and I said crossguard lightsabers are the worst. And immediately, all I do is hate people, you know. So that's what it is.
You do seem to hate everything.
And just because I'm not afraid to say it.
Hey, Dave.
Dave M is here.
What's up, Dave?
Preserving light. What's going on, brother? Richie B. What is Matt talking about? I can't wait to check them out. Must have missed a previous comment. But Midnight's Edge. Tom is here. What's up, Tom?
Love me some Tom.
That's right. There it is. The Knights of Krista, says Jack. Jack, hey, I hope I know your puppy is not doing so well. Hope he gets better, man. Always rough when your pets are sick. And then the Senate understands me. He knows me so well.
Yeah,
Hail Ryan.
Back in memeing form.
It is. It's always good when the Senate is memeing at full capacity. So thank you, Senate, and hail Ryan. Let the hate flow.
Hail Senate.
That's right. So how has this week been for you guys? You know, the Rise of Skywalker stuff is starting to trickle down a little bit. You know, it's basically, you know, it's trickled down in the box office. It's trickled down as far as people's attention to it. People are kind of ready to move on to the next thing. But, you know, so Star Wars, now we're focused on a lot of what's forward, all the rumors and stuff. And one rumor we had that I wanted to start off with, because it came out a little earlier, was Taika Waititi. How do you guys feel about this rumor that came out that said Taika Waititi could be in discussions to, well, it was not really rumor, it's a report, but he didn't confirm it.
They didn't confirm shit. And that's fine. You know, we won't know till we know or whatever. And I just don't know how I feel about this, mainly because my big concern here is that I don't want Star Wars going the way of Marvel. I don't want to discount Marvel for Star Wars. And not that I dislike Taika Waititi as a director. I do think he's a bit irreverent, which is fine. I actually don't mind irreverence. But the notion of I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby, and the sorry in advance sucker stuff, that worries me. And I think that's a reasonable concern because trolling or not, it does display a measure of irreverence for Star Wars. And I worry the toxic males are going to have to wait until I get my hair done. So sorry, but I am concerned because Star Wars, I think, has suffered enough irreverence at this point, right?
Agreed.
I think we've gone through an ordeal here, and I'd like to see Star Wars survive this. I'd like to see it flourish and bloom into something that we can all get behind again. I don't want to see this fandom constantly on edge and ticky-tacking one another. I'd like to see us get back to a place where we argue about the shit that matters, you know, like where our arguments are fun again, as opposed to, you know, like seriously foul name calling. And so I'm a little concerned that if there isn't some steps taken back here and then stopping to kind of assess, okay, so how do we legitimately respect Star Wars and the fans? I don't know that Taika Waititi is the route to take here with that. I don't know. I like him. I think he's fun and funny, but I don't think he's Star Wars.
What do you think, Fox?
Well, I'm curious about the terminology. Reading up on this, I heard all these different phrases. Okay, he's developing, he's been tasked to develop, he's tapped to direct, he's in talks to direct. These all mean many, many different things. Is he going to develop the entire movie? Is he going to direct someone else's script? I think that's very important. The things about episode 8 of The Mandalorian that I didn't like, I think were very Taika Waititi-ish. I mean, I really have to agree with Mary. I think the irreverence, fine in Marvel's universe, it was one part or one piece of a pie. This being Star Wars, if we're talking about continuing on with the episodic films, I don't know that I would like his holistic vision. Him directing will probably be tolerable, but either way, I'm probably apprehensive. I think is probably how I feel about both scenarios. Directing, okay. Developing his own idea, no, not at all.
Yeah. It's been one of the big problems we've had so far is that you keep letting these directors develop this stuff. Yeah. And they don't have a clue what they're doing.
Well, you even saw, Taika Waititi did one addition to The Mandalorian. In addition to voicing IG-88, he directed the 8th episode. And immediately, the very beginning of the 8th episode, you leave the 7th, even if you don't really care about Mandalorian, you leave it with this feeling after Quill, with spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen it. But after Quill is killed by these stormtroopers in this race to get there, they gunned him down in cold blood. They picked up Baby Yoda and ran. You're left with that feeling. Then immediately, the very next episode, you're put into this joking, into this joke where the stormtroopers are joking with each other. They're punching Baby Yoda, which I support. They're missing. They're like pretending to shoot this thing, and they're missing, which then kind of invalidates any threat that they actually are and that they were to the person they just killed, who you're supposed to care about. And it's just, like you said, kind of irreverent. And it's not that Star Wars is serious all the time. That's not the case. We know that Star Wars does have a little bit of silliness, a little bit of humor to it sometimes, which is fine. But the problem that I, would kind of have, like you said, if they're trying to make it like MCU, like current MCU, and that was my issue with Thor Ragnarok, is that it was just constant, beat you over the head with jokes. His dad just dies. It's a joke. Everything that happens, it became Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. And I know Trey Courtney's with me there in chat about Thor Ragnarok. And now a lot of people love it. And that's fine. I would worry about that tone. And it didn't carry over the entire episode of Mandalorian, which is nice. But I do think if you gave him creative control, I think what would happen. Mm-hmm. And he's in charge of Thor Love and Thunder coming up. And obviously that is still in development. We really don't know too much about it. But the way that Marvel's going, the way it's been marketed, the way he spoke to fans in defense of it, I do think there's good reason to be worried.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it couldn't be good. I think it's important to kind of be open to some things, but I don't think it's something that they should be attempting right now. And I don't think it should be a main series movie. I think maybe let him do something off on the side and see how it fares, see how it floats, right? Like I don't want to hate everything. I don't want to veto everything. That's not what I mean here. Look, you've got this streaming service. It's here. It's viable. It's clearly a good addition to Star Wars. It's working. Maybe don't put him on the big screen just yet. Maybe see how he fits in with everything and test him out first. And look, I get that that's kind of sort of what they're doing with The Mandalorian here a little bit, but I think it needs a little bit more of a test run. And I really don't think that Star Wars is in a place right now for you to be taking that kind of a risk, right? The kind of irreverent risk that Taika Waititi would be.
And I don't think it's an unfair criticism. We've got a good sample size of his work. We've seen what he does and how it flushes out. And there's times where it works and there's times where it doesn't. And I agree with you, Ryan. The parts that are very, Taika Waititi-esque in episode 8 really just, it doesn't jive with the rest of the series. And really 7 and 8 are almost like a two-parter. They're so close together, those two episodes. So he really needed to pull back a lot, I think, and to sort of continue what Deborah Chow set up. And I think that he showed a lack of restraint. I think we really need to take a step back and then have Star Wars find its voice again, because I think we've seen 3 films where they've just stumbled and they're trying to get back on track. And I don't know that a very strong stylistic choice and a director of his caliber, of his type, creative type, would work. Especially for like an episode 10 situation where we're going to start.
Maybe something off on the side, perhaps. But definitely not like main. And look, I'm all about trolls, man. I roll with this community, right? Like you'll never find a person who loves trolling more than I do, but there's a time and a place for it. And up mainstream like you're right, he's a troll. Freaking Taika Waititi is a troll. And I appreciate that. I really do. In the time and place where it belongs. I love seeing you drink out of that mug, Fox. I just got the goodies right there.
Damn, it's so good.
No, I feel like there's a time and place for everything, and this is not the time or the place for Taika Waititi to be up on the big screen, and not when there's so much at stake for Star Wars right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he is so trusted with the MCU. I think that after Thor Ragnarok, which was a big commercial success, and he's working on Thor Love and Thunder, he's worked with Kevin Feige before. I do think that is likely where where he would go. You know, this rumored Kevin Feige movie. That there's a million things in the work, right? Or in the works. So it's tough to tell what is what. However, I do think that it makes the most sense to imagine that Taika Waititi would be working with Kevin Feige, with him as the brains behind it, and Waititi putting it on paper or on the screen.
On the screen. Yeah, I don't know. I say no. I say bring in somebody who doesn't have such a strong creative stamp on their projects. Someone new who's going to take a well-developed story and script and put it on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, and like I said, maybe on the streaming service, maybe something one-off. Yeah. I think I'd be more open to that. I think I would be far more open to Taika doing something, as long as it was overseen by someone like, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, something like that. Someone who can kind of keep him a little bit reined in here in terms of like canon's a mess right now, guys. Let's not make it worse. Someone who can keep him reined in. I'd be good, I think, with like a Disney Plus series, but I think at the same time,
like an episode of The Mandalorian. Give him a shot.
Sure. Yeah.
I walk standalone.
I mean, like entire series.
The Adventures of Wicket,
I have issues with this different director for freaking every other episode of The Mandalorian. I think that's a bad approach. I think it's one of the problems that we had with the trilogy, with the sequel trilogy here. It's one of the big issues is that you've got a bunch of different people coming in and putting their thumbprints all over something, playing with everybody's different toys, right? So let's get some coherency here. Let's get some stuff that jives from one thing to the next, right? So I'm not saying no, I'm saying let him do something, his own thing, all to him, let him give it a shot. Sure. But the main big screen, I think we need to be a little more careful.
Well, in addition to that rumor, which does seem fairly credible, Taika Waititi, in response to when all this came out, he neither confirmed nor denied. He just posted a picture that said rumors from what was that? I forget who.
Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. The Fleetwood Mac rumors cover. That's all he posted. So he's getting some enjoyment out of it.
Too, but
yeah.
Saying it.
Now another rumor that seems a little more wily that happened that came down was this. All of a sudden, people started talking about the Kenobi series. All of a sudden, the Kenobi series was seemingly in jeopardy. It was canceled. You had a couple people running with reports that it was basically canceled, and had a little bit of fallout in the next couple hours. Lucasfilm came out and said that's not the case. It's not canceled. Ewan's representatives came out. They said that's not canceled either. But yet we still have rumblings that there's something going on behind the scenes, some kind of unease. It's still on at this point, but there's definitely some friction from what we've heard.
Sure, but there's been drama that's run amok through Lucasfilm since all this started. Drama's been like essentially all Lucasfilm is for the past several years. So I don't think drama is. Look, I don't doubt that there's drama behind the scenes. I'm sure that there is, but there is no way Lucasfilm would sell its left nut before it got rid of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Okay, there's no way they're gonna let that just go, and I don't believe it for 2 seconds. Something seriously insane would have to happen before they relinquished the Obi-Wan. They've already taken it down from the silver screen, right? They've taken that and they've sort of devalued it in a sense, in my mind anyway, and they've put it on the streaming service, and I'm not thrilled about that, but I'll take what I can get because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's my favorite character from the movies, and I don't think they're going to relinquish that. I think something genuinely insane would have to happen before that went down. I honestly think they would crawl on their hands and knees to Ewan McGregor before they would let this go. Yeah.
I am curious. I think that the Mandalorian / Boba Fett movie turned into the Mandalorian series. I think the talks of an Obi-Wan movie turned into the series. Is the series turning back into the movie? I mean, I don't know. I heard that all this is really just stems from production reschedule. The production schedule was shifted, changed, whatever. That caused people to freak out, and they just started saying, "Oh, it's canceled. It's all over." And that's not necessarily the case. I think they just shifted some scheduling around, and you can understand that. Big actors, big personalities, all that things happen. I don't think they're letting this go. I do not think it's canceled, done. But I mean, what else do they have going on? I think they're looking at the abyss, right? They don't know what they're doing with Star Wars. The movies are just, I think they just barely scraped by and got through this trilogy. They don't know where they're going next. They know they need to put something out there. Is it possible that now this is headed back to the big screen? I don't know. Most likely it's just a bump in the road, and filming will continue. We'll get this on Disney Plus, and everything will be happy, hunky-dory fine. But I don't know.
Yeah, and so one of the big misnomers with this thing, so immediately you saw a couple of people ran with canceled, then people ran with the rumors. Then people started coming out and saying, no, it's definitely not. It all came from this parody account. Well, that's just simply not true. There was a parody account that 2 days before this tweeted out, and I've seen this parody account before. They just post fake film rumors. They just make stuff up to try to troll people. And it was like, oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi series is canceled for this reason. And nobody picked up on it. Nobody said anything. Then an actual people started talking about it. Rumors started flying. One of the people that picked up on it is a guy who does just like investigative journalism stuff for Patreon, or like for Patreon money. And then he like puts it out to his people. He's also the one that broke the news that they were looking for the 8-year-old Luke Skywalker casting. So he is somewhat familiar and has gotten some things before. He came out and said something. Other people in the industry started hearing things. Rumbling started happening. Then people searched Twitter and found that this parody account had said something about it being canceled. So that is why people found that parody account. It's not that it started it, because I was on the lookout from the beginning, because I heard about this as soon as it happened.
Grace Randolph said something about it as well, right?
Grace Randolph, after everyone looked into it, Grace Randolph triple checked or whatever with her sources, and she said something to the effect of, at the moment the show is not canceled, but the insiders say that it's still something that could happen if the drama is not resolved. So something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think they'll resolve it personally. I think they're far too invested in this, and they realize how invested in this fans are. Look, Disney Plus is nothing without The Mandalorian, and that's literally the reason everybody signed up for it, right? And that's the reason people left in droves, is because The Mandalorian's over, and there's what, I got all this shit on DVD. Why the hell am I sitting here watching this on here? I don't give a shit about this crap, right? So I mean, like, this is what you have. This original content is all that people are there for. So I don't think that they're going to relinquish something like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series easily. I think they will. I personally think they'll crawl on their hands and knees to Ewan McGregor before they relinquish it.
Yeah.
Drama, maybe, but I don't think Disney will let it go.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's too much on the line. They would delay it 2 years if they had to. There's like nothing. There's nothing that means more to people right now. Maybe Clone Wars, I suppose, but with Deborah Chow's success in The Mandalorian, with what Ewan McGregor means to the Star Wars community right now, short of Ewan going out and murdering somebody and getting put in jail, I can't see a way that this doesn't get worked out and happen.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I get it. There's drama behind the scenes, and so it's worthy to discuss, right? It's certainly a red flag. It's certainly a reason to go, fuck, right? Like everybody does get themselves a bit stirred up over this stuff, because our experience with Disney for the past few years has been nothing but drama, right? It's just drama after drama after drama, because Kathleen Kennedy has no frigging clue how to do anything other than make a sandwich, right? The woman is completely ill-equipped to handle this job.
I don't know that even that's confirmed.
Do what?
I don't even know that that's confirmed. Her sandwich.
Bare minimum, a good cup of coffee. She got here somehow. Okay,
maybe a Hot Pocket. Maybe.
Like, she put some hazelnut in that shit. I'm sure she makes a really great cup of coffee, right? But
Spielberg about that one.
So, and it's been nothing but drama. So, of course, everyone is primed and ready to be concerned and worried. And so these discussions are still probably important to be having, because we're all on high alert. The few things that we had to hold on to love when it sounds like they might be in jeopardy, yeah, everybody's going to get their panties in a wad. But I have a little bit more confidence in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's not even in Lucasfilm necessarily, but in understanding that the fandom will rally around this. And Lucasfilm may be stupid, but they're not fucking stupid. So I don't think they'll let this go.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And that's what I said in my initial video too. And of course, it's funny when you title a video, you put it out there, and you can clearly tell the people in the comments that didn't actually watch the video, right? So they can't see where you said, I personally don't think that any of this is going to happen. They will get this done. I can't see how this rumor would be true, but you know, that's just how it is. That's the YouTube game, I suppose.
Well, not just the YouTube game. There's been a lot of drama. There's plenty of reasons for people to get concerned when something like that's reported. Yes, please. I'm starving, guys. Yeah, there's plenty of reason to get concerned when you hear rumblings of drama behind it, because that's what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants the Obi-Wan. Nobody asked for that freaking. Nobody asked for Solo, and nobody asked for what's his name from Rogue One, the little
Cassian Andor. You got what? Come on, I can't wait for that one.
Oh,
what?
No, I'm just kidding.
That's so awesome. I can't wait. And there's always been this, there has also been this air of almost too good to be true, really. I mean, if Ewan McGregor didn't come out on stage with KK and like tell us it was going to happen, I would have always doubted it was even going to happen until it actually showed up in my queue on Disney Plus. So yeah, I mean, I think that people are in some ways waiting for this thing to fall apart.
Yeah, we're concerned. There's concern, and for a good reason. People are stressed out. They're a little stressed out at this point, and reasonably so. So I get why everybody would kind of be like, red alert, fuck, Obi-Wan. Like, I get that. But I also think we do still need to keep our heads firmly attached to our shoulders here, because Lucasfilm's not going to do that, right? So somebody's got to be calm and rational around here. It's not going to be them. So everybody take a little woosop hill. I get it. I do, you know, but at the same time, I don't think it's going anywhere.
All right. Well, let's move on to some stuff that happened over this weekend. The first thing I want to talk about, is I want to thank my patrons. Now that we're 30 minutes in, we got a good crowd going here. Guys, if you haven't, take a minute to smash the like button. Share this out there. Let everybody know what we're doing, that we're live streaming right now. Everybody that has done it already, thank you. I've seen some people sharing it out on Twitter. I appreciate you. Also, take a minute to subscribe to 19K Fox and Mary Mayhem. Mary's in the link in my patrons down below, and 19K Fox is also in the description. So check them out. But thank you to my wonderful patrons who allow me to keep producing as much content as I do. You make it a lot easier for me, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. So Teresa Martin, George, Big Dick, Lucas, who recently upped his pledge. Thank you, sir. Mexican Iron Man, Lost Jedi 22, Neo Valentine, Ann D Larkin, a new patron. Thank you so much, Ann. Mary Mayhem, what an ass, what a bitch, what a cuck. Rosetta Allen, Bionic Belly Button, RC from the NYC, Riff Magos, Thick Karen, The Geek Blend, AFK Bard, Seth Saunders, Kyle Hopkins, Alex McCarthy, Trev Fishbein, Geeky Candy, Wesley Semple, and Mark Steven. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Dude, I was one of your first patrons. Why do I keep moving down the list?
Well, it's about your tier, Mary. You're at the Padawan level, so you're the first Padawan that gets listed.
You just said that was alphabetical. Damn.
Oh, okay. So I go by who was there to support me first, but I get it. It's cool.
We don't all follow the rules of Mary Mayhem. But,
well, if there's one thing I've figured out about Ryan, is he doesn't follow anybody's rules but his own. You shithead.
Yeah, that's true. But thank you guys. Thank you, mods, for throwing that out there. I appreciate you. All those links. Selena Dominguez is here. What's up, Selena? Astro Channel's here.
Ooh, Stephanie nailed it. That's right, y'all.
Steph is here. That is the new Fandom Menace ship. That is a new Fandom Menace ship for my nerdy home says Foxy Mayhem. Look at that.
That's right. And I take no shame in starting that shit. I started it my damn self.
You no longer deny it. It had to be.
It was inevitable. It's like Thanos. I am inevitable.
And I see we have a super sticker from Midnight's Edge After Dark. Tom, thank you so much. The one thing I despise about StreamYard is that you can't see those. So I see it in my when I have it pulled up here. But it is a fist bump from a pear-shaped man. Fist bump. So thank you, Tom. Appreciate you, bro. There we go. Ship Doomcock and monetization, someone says.
That's nice. I like this.
All right. So let me actually pull up my website, the numbers, which Odin's movie blog uses the numbers .com for the box office. And I found that it is extremely, ever since they changed, ever since they changed Box Office Mojo, it's just awful. So the numbers seems to be way better. I'm really enjoying it. Now, it's full weekend chart. I see someone that has another ship. Rida, is that Ryan and Baby Yoda? Is that what that's supposed to mean? CAC 44? I don't like that one.
Rida, come on.
Not at all.
Come along for the Rida.
All right. So, I've been saying for the past couple weeks with the tracking of Jumanji and with the tracking of Rise of Skywalker that I thought this was going to happen. I thought that Jumanji, even though it's been out longer, was going to eventually overtake Rise of Skywalker just because of the disinterest that people have. And sure as shit, you look at this box office rankings, Jumanji, which has been out longer, made $1 million more this weekend than Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
And a lot of that has to do with this number right here. You see, minus 581, minus 1221. Now, do you guys remember we got some news out that over 1,200 theaters had dropped The Rise of Skywalker earlier this week? What was your reaction when you heard that?
Hilarious how quick they dropped that shit. They were like, get this out of here. I'm sick of this shit.
As soon as Disney said they could.
We're only getting 40% of this haul, and it's not doing what we thought, man. Fucking this shit I'm out. It was great.
Yeah. Now that this has a lot to do with Disney has like this strange contract that really nobody else has with their Star Wars movies. They're required to keep it on screen, on like the main screen in their theater for 4 weeks. And a lot of, especially theaters in smaller towns, were having a problem with this because you have to have it in there. You may only have a couple screens in your theater, and you have to have Rise of Skywalker, and everybody's in the first couple of weeks has kind of seen it. They're ready for something else, but you can't take it off because of that contract. So once that 4 weeks is up, boom, look at how many people drop it. So now Jumanji is in more theaters than Rise of Skywalker.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
It's crazy.
Well, it is crazy, the trajectory. This thing is just dropping off. It has, I mean, worse legs than Last Jedi. It's insane. To think that this is not going to catch. I mean, it may catch Rogue One.
Yeah, that's the question right now. If it catches Rogue One without inflation,
maybe that's a maybe right now, guys. That's still a maybe.
I don't know that it's going to happen. We were looking at these numbers last week. It would have to catch up to stay in theaters 5 more weeks, make $10 million a week just to get there, just to catch.
I just don't think that's look.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to wham-and-splain.
No, baby. I'm sorry. Tell me about it.
No, if theaters keep dropping this movie like they've been doing, I don't see that as happening. There's a reason they're shoving the hell out the door and giving it the boot. I just don't see it happening. I think it's a big if it even catches Rogue One at this point.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and how sad is that? This spin-off movie, which is probably the best Disney movie, to be fair. I think probably without a doubt you can say that. But it's still not some memorable movie on repeat when you watch it. Like, who has gone back and watched Rogue One? I don't think too many people have.
I've seen Rogue One 3 times.
Oh God, what's wrong with you?
Twice in theaters and then once on streaming.
On Disney Plus or on
on
Netflix?
Netflix.
Nice.
I don't own it.
I actually own it. Yeah, I do. I have a Blu-ray. I had The Force Awakens. That's no longer with us.
You killed it?
It's dead.
Yeah, I watched that video. That was hot.
It's dead. Yeah, no, it's dead. It's the only physical thing that I own of the new Star Wars, and I'll keep it. I think I'll keep it. It's fine for a standalone one-off, but I mean, it's odd. The drop off is insane. I mean, the difference in opening weekends between 7 and 8 was 11%. By the end of its run, the difference was 33%. So it had no legs. Then you look at the comparison between 8 and 9 now, and what it's doing now. It's insane. I thought that for sure I thought it would catch Last Jedi and maybe just squeak out of maybe 100 million more. This is unprecedented. It really is.
Yeah. No, and it speaks to, look, nobody liked this. People went to see this film for one reason and one reason alone. It said Star Wars on the title. And that's it. That's the only reason that this movie made the kind of money that it made. It wasn't a good film and no one's happy with it. And there's a reason it had that drop off. It dropped off so steep because nobody enjoyed this. I remember saying this. I said this back months ago. I can't even remember what video I said it on, but I said it this way because somebody had made the point, the Geeks and Gamers, it only has the kind of views it has because it doesn't have unique views, right? And I was like, let's get something straight. The Rise of Skywalker, if it hits 1.5 or 2 billion, it's not going to hit that because of unique views, right? It's going to be the fans who go back to see it 4 or 5 and 6 times to get it there. And the fans aren't doing that. They aren't doing that because this isn't a good film. And even the people who you tried to placate to, like the Raylos, aren't backing you up, yo. They are not backing you up. And now you sit in a place where this movie will struggle to do fucking Rogue One numbers. Are you kidding me right now? This is and look, is it a win for the Fandom Menace? I suppose that depends on how you see things. I personally think it's a win for the Fandom Menace because we wanted to send a message, right? We wanted to send a message. Do your damn job and do it right. Right. And then we'll show up and we'll support you. We love Star Wars. And we don't like your propaganda. Get it the fuck out of our movies. Right. So I'm thrilled to see that it wound up flopping, not because I wanted to see the sequel trilogy flop as a whole, but because I want to see Star Wars get back to something decent. And this is where we sit. And it's not those unique numbers. Well, I guess all those people you placated, they weren't real Star Wars fans, were they? Or they'd have gone all those 5-6 times, wouldn't they? Oh no.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of kind of needing this reset now where we are, George Big Dick Lucas with the $5 super chat. I hope they get rid of KK before they start any new movies. They need to start over in the theater. And I do agree. That's why I think she needs to be gone, now, because this is the time so they can start getting into the real development for all this new stuff. They have to have a fresh start. They can't let the same people that were start developing the new stuff. They need to make the change now. But thank you, George, for the super chat. And then Trace XL, what's up, Trace? For $10, appreciate it. The Rise of Skywalker flat out disappeared in most of the theaters near me the same day. I checked Fandango, and I think there were 10 theaters within 50 miles still showing. Most for Bad Boys 3 in 1917. Yeah.
Both superior movies, by the way.
Have you seen both of them, Fox? I know you saw 1917.
I absolutely loved 1917. Go see it. Bad Boys 3, I'll say it now, it is the template for the perfect sequel.
Ooh.
It really is.
High praise.
Different. It's not done by Michael Bay. It's different directors, but they did homages that help you sort of realize that we're in that same world, the same universe. Okay. It's the same feel, but it moves forward.
Nice.
Blows your
Very
mind.
cool.
But no, it's cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack, but yeah.
That was good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing definitely 1917. That's like a movie that I'll like watch on TNT, when it's on, one of those kind of movies. So I might see it if I have some time. And then Tom says, if TRS makes... Nice. Yeah, let's check it out. And then Tom says, if TRS makes less than Rogue One, that's bad. Yeah, that is horrendous. That would be shocking. I don't think anybody could have predicted that. And again, hey, Trace XL, thank you for the super chat, man. It sure did disappear out of theaters in a freaking heartbeat, for sure. And then I saw Anomaly Inc. in the chat earlier too. Let's go. I don't know where there he is. What's up, Anomaly? Good to see you, man. Anomaly Inc.'s been doing some awesome stuff over there on his channel. So definitely check him out if you get the time. And speaking of someone else who did something awesome on his channel, another Australian, Raging Rhino for Australian $2.99. First super chat ever. Thanks for everything. Well, thank you. I still need to share that out on Twitter, but Raging Rhino made a video basically saying why the sequel, why so many people have problems with the sequel trilogy, and giving a shout out to myself and Lethal Lightning for the EU content and stuff like that moving forward. And it was a great video. I had a great time listening to it, and a great new creator right there, Raging Rhino. So thank you, guys. Check him out if you get the chance.
Check him out right now, actually.
And then speaking of great creators who had an incredible stream going on last night. Echo Base Network 199 saw 1917 yesterday afternoon. Slow and boring. So there we go. There's someone who does not appreciate or did not like 1917. So that's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I've heard some good things. I haven't heard too much of that, but I could see based on how it's been marketed and everything that some people could find it a little slow with the single shot and all of that. But yeah, interesting. So thank you, Echo Base, and congrats to all your success, man.
Absolutely. He's a cool ass guy. Well, both Coach and Nick are pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know what this is, but someone just said lies. In Crackhead Jeremy said lies.
Lies.
But yeah, so when you
schemes and scammers,
you can clearly schemes and scammers. I have
schemes and scammers.
I have schemes and scammers. Schemes
Dude,
and scammers.
I just got one of those too.
Yeah.
I just got one of those too. I'm gonna have to put it up on my wall somewhere.
I know. We should officially change the Geeks and Gamers. Oh, guys, hey, check out my sweet shirt that says 19K Fox.
It's amazing. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful shirt.
It is a nice shirt.
I need to get tank
quality content, guys. Not to mention quality merch.
That's true. Merch. Stories by Irish is here. What's up? Sheila Allen's in the chat. Hey, Sheila. But yeah, when you look at this is when all the people started being like, oh my gosh, it's gonna beat Last Jedi because it had Christmas at a different time. And I did the exact same thing. I came out and I said, well, this is why, and I broke down when Christmas had happened for this and when Christmas would happen for this. And we saw very clearly that was exactly the case. And now it's just fucking died. And you look at, well, maybe here you go. You look at Jumanji, right? And it's just taken off from the projection.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it just has legs. And although it right now it's sitting a little over 700 million, this movie only cost $115 million to produce.
Yeah.
And then you got to factor in, advertising, all that stuff. But this movie is going to make 2 or 3 times at least what Rise of Skywalker makes, if not more.
Yeah, I was going to say easy. And I think, and that boils down to freaking Lucasfilm has no idea how to just do a damn movie anymore, how to just make a damn movie, because they keep fucking up halfway through the shit and then have to reshoot most of the damn movie. So you've got the production costs are through the roof, and above what they even would have normally been. They're already above normal, right? Because, JJ got to have them freaking lens flares. You got to have all the epileptic seizures. You got to have all the bright, shiny things that get the butts in seats because your story is shit. Right. So you have all of this nonsense that goes into how much you spend on a movie. I have an idea. It's novel, but stay here with me, guys. Okay. Just stay with me. Write a good story. It's easier. It costs less. You'll make more money and fans will show the fuck up. That's all I'm saying. It's a very simple process.
Yeah, that's very true. And, yeah, it's crazy. The idea, like we said, that we're comparing this thing to Rogue One, that now I think with this, it's getting very close to the Phantom Menace overall take. Of course, the Phantom Menace did have a 3D re-release to get it over $1 billion. So we have to be honest. There was a re-release. However, that's not including inflation or anything. That's just including what it made in 1999 and then the re-release. So it's pretty insane. You can say, hey, it did $1 billion. Okay. But that doesn't mean a lot when you spend so much money to make it. And, you see a movie like Joker that cost $55 million to make. That movie made $1 billion without a China release. And especially the China release thing pisses me off. Not because I want Disney Star Wars to do great or anything, but it's like, why did you, and I think J.J. Abrams' original vision was garbage anyway and trash, but evidently, from what we've heard, they cucked the Force Ghost scene, right? They got rid of the whole Force Ghost scene with all of the Force Ghosts standing around behind Rey because they would have made him change the scene for China because you can't have ghosts in China. That's why Luke Skywalker looked so blue and weird. He looked kind of like a hologram instead of a ghost. And when they told that to JJ, rumor has it, from what I've heard, JJ said, fuck it, let's just get rid of it, because they were going to have to change too much and it wouldn't even look good at all. They would have to change the lighting and everything in that whole scene to get these ghosts there.
Yeah, good job on that. You totally counseled to China, who didn't give a shit anyway.
Yeah, it made $20 million in China.
It almost makes the scene nonsensical anyway. There were so many voices that if you weren't really attuned and listening for the voices, you don't know who the hell they are. Luminara, I mean, who the hell was listening for that? A lot of people don't know Ahsoka. I mean, it's hard to pick up all the voices. The visual impact.
So we knew.
Well, yeah.
But as you're watching it, you're right. It's incoherent.
Yeah, to see that visually would have made so much more sense. The impact would have been so much more. It wouldn't have made it a good scene or a good movie, but I mean, it would have, that's where you go back to, why are we making these decisions? Are they artistic or are they financial? I mean, and at this point, I think it's just garbage. I mean, and I love the fact that the financial returns have dropped off. Look at the trajectory, 7, 8, 9, just down, 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 down. I mean, it's just, if anything, even the most objective person could look at it and see that the interest for Star Wars has just been dying since 7.
Well, and it's a good example of when you lose your roots, right? Like there's a corporation in place here, guys. Let's not forget what we're talking about here. We're talking about Disney Lucasfilm, right? This corporation is in place to do what a corporation thinks is going to be in its best interest, and a corporation is not going to care about its hardcore fan base if they think that they can please China, right? So it goes back to they've lost touch with their fan base. You've lost touch with us, or maybe you never had it. Certainly Disney Lucasfilm never had it, right? But when you stop caring about that hardcore fan base, you're going to lose everybody else. And I've said this long and hard. We geeks are the one, we run the freaking world. Yeah, long and hard. That's right, Fox. I saw that. So no, geeks are the ones, we run the world. We run the world. We set the pace, right? And this may not have been the case back in the 90s. I was the weirdo little chick who none of the other girls wanted to talk to because I was weird and spouting shit like, do or do not, there is no try. And they're just looking at me like I'm a fucking weirdo, right? And maybe they're not wrong, but we run the world now. They follow our pace. The common moviegoer only likes Star Wars because we told them it was cool. Right? We turned them on to this stuff. We showed them. They only like this Marvel stuff because we showed them that it was cool, right? That's the only reason that this stuff has gone mainstream. And when you lose that hardcore audience and then you have no idea what you're doing anymore, and you're just running around like chickens with your heads cut off. And I'm sorry, but that's what this entire trilogy is. It's just one giant example of a chicken running around with their head cut off. Then you have no idea how to make something good and compelling. You don't please the hardcore fan base. And then that casual fan base is very soon to follow. And I think this is just a really great example of that.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. I'm sure you've thrilled China. Oh, wait, they didn't give a shit either.
Oh.
Yeah, they hate Star Wars, I guess. Matt G for $5. Episode 9 is between Rocky Horror and Lawrence of Arabia on the all-time adjusted for inflation. What a combo to be stuck between. That's so weird. Yeah.
Really?
When you think about it that way. Yeah. That is crazy. Inflation is crazy in general, too. And I think that when you look at how different theaters are right now, it's so interesting to think about, because back, 10 years ago, you weren't going online to purchase your ticket for the most part. You were walking up, you were buying a ticket, and you were sitting in a tiny seat in between. You got there early so you could get whatever seat you wanted, right? Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's so different. Theaters have much fewer seating. Well, some theaters do. A lot of them have fewer seating. You have assigned seating. It costs more. It's just different.
I remember when I went to see the Phantom Menace with my brother when it came out. We stayed in line overnight for that. We were just thrilled and excited for it because we wanted the best seats and we wanted to get in there. We wanted to be in the middle of the theater to observe it and get the best experience, right? It was an overnight experience for us and it was amazing. And it was the catalyst for traditions that went forward with us in the future that, of course, the sequel trilogy destroyed. So we don't do that anymore, but we would have had to do that. But no, like I remember hardcore fans, we were the ones out there in line overnight for waiting for releases. I
think it's funny that Joker has done what it's done and it didn't even open in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
China.
And it's probably not even going to catch the Joker. 1.07 billion.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with Joker too, it's re-releasing.
Yeah.
It's going to go on a small re-release for awards season.
You're fucked, Star Wars.
So it's going to make more money.
You done got fucked.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting. But look at that big ass job. That is the thing. That's the thing that really killed it, and that showed how many theaters are ready to have it done. And one of the interesting things I saw today was, what if everyone's screaming to give Tom a link? I'll give Tom a link. It's a good idea.
Give that man.
I'll give that man a link.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I think is interesting is how many things got moved out of this slot. Originally, Wonder Woman 84 was supposed to open around this time. There were several other things. The thing on the Nile, whatever that one's supposed to be, that was originally supposed to open. Sonic was originally supposed to open around this time. A bunch of stuff ended up moving out. Now, whether that's because they were scared of Star Wars, whether that's just because of their production issues, who really knows what ultimately led to that.
Well, it boils down to no competition. They didn't have any real competition.
Yeah, because you know, Jumanji is the only thing that held up. That and Frozen were basically its two big competitors when you're looking at worldwide audiences. And Cats is one of the biggest bombs maybe we've ever seen. That is the big competition for it. The other thing, what is it called? The one with the guy who was supposedly framed by the media for setting the bomb. You know what I'm talking about, Fox? You go to so many movies.
Oh yeah. Oh damn it. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Whatever that one is. That thing, Richard something. I don't know, but that Richard Jewell. Thank you. But anyway, yeah, Richard Jewell. That thing bombed too. So it could have been a lot worse.
No pun intended.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. But everyone's going to be time traveling in JJ's DC. Oh, I don't even want to think about. I don't even want to think about JJ going to DC. But we have another guest,
Hello.
Tom from Midnight's Edge, After Dark, and Midnight's Edge. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
Awesome.
Doing good. And you were saying that basically if this doesn't make Rogue One money, what a disaster it would be.
Well, yeah, think about that for a minute. I mean, that's bad. These ancillary movies, they are set up to where they could afford to only make like $500 million. You know what I mean?
Right.
Overall, I mean, they're not meant to make the billion. The episode movies were the ones that were meant to make $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even more than that, actually. And
Yeah.
if this thing doesn't make as much as Rogue One, that's pretty sad.
I think they'll re-release it. I still think.
Oh, yeah, they're going to, I'm sure. But
I still think there's a cut they're gonna. I still think they'll release the JJ.
this would be like an Ant-Man movie outgrossing an Avengers film, guys. That's what I'm getting at.
That's a damn good comparison. Holy.
Yeah.
God, that is a good comparison.
Oh, jeez.
That's exactly what it
That'd
is. And
be
that's what I
rough.
was saying. Like that would be very bad for the optics of it for Disney. It would be very bad for the film itself, obviously, for Disney, for KK, for Lucasfilm, for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't all the other extras to bring in for this movie because there wasn't merchandise line for this at all. I didn't see a single T-shirt.
Isn't that insane?
I didn't see any toy. Well, there wasn't a toy line at all. There was some toys, but they were mixed in with other lines.
I saw one thing. I was at Walmart the other night. I saw a Poe that had the Rise of Skywalker like label on it. And that's the first like specific like Rise of Skywalker line that I've seen. Yeah. It was very weird.
Yeah, but you don't see it. I mean, like, look, they didn't produce a line of toys for this movie, guys.
Was that a Black Series one though, or was that the actual 3/4 inch standard Kenner line?
It was like a 3/4 inch Kenner. That's kind of what it was. I should have taken a picture of it.
That would have been the first I'd heard of it. Yeah.
And it said right out Rise of Skywalker on the like the paper backing or whatever that is.
That's what I'm talking about. To this point, I have not seen a line at all.
Yep, I saw one. But we have a super chat here from Larry for $5. Thank you, Larry. Instead of money made, they should publicize number of tickets sold, not given away. The number of tickets sold is a better measure of success. Yeah, you'd be hard pressed. We can't even get the real numbers out of them for how much it costs to make things and how much it costs to advertise. So
I'm still not convinced they've even made money yet on this film. I'm not convinced of that.
I'm not either. I'm one of the few, like Mary, that is convinced that even those who are like, oh, they might have made a couple $100 million on it. I'm like, I don't think so. I really don't, because there's no way they're going to report what they spent on the
they spent so
reshoots.
I get it. They're trying to be fair, and they're trying to report like the base numbers or whatever that they're trying to go on what we've been told, right? I get that, but they're not going to tell us what they really spent on this film. They're not going to do it. I'm very confident that they probably haven't made money on this film yet.
Well, not even that. I don't think they've made money on the entire investment period.
Oh, definitely not. There's no way they have.
Right. Yep. As a whole, there's just no way. There's no way. I mean, the profits just aren't there. I mean, besides, episode 7, which, blew up because it was episode 7, it really didn't matter what they did. It was going to do $1 billion plus. I just, the trajectory is just going down. It's horrible.
Baby Yoda toys could have saved him this Christmas.
It could have done so much. And look, don't think we enjoy saying this. For those of you who are watching, I don't think that we're enjoying this, at least certainly not from an overall perspective here, big picture perspective. We don't enjoy this. We're not thrilled here. We're not happy that this has happened. We love Star Wars. We are here because we love Star Wars. What we're trying to accomplish by pointing this stuff out, and it's just truth that we're pointing out here, guys. What we're trying to accomplish is to show Disney Lucasfilm that you can do better. We want you to do better. You can't feed us garbage. There will be backlash, and you can either do better or we won't show up. We're trying to make a positive impact on the overall picture here. None of us wanted this to fail. None of us wanted this to sink. We wanted it to do well. Trust me, I would have been thrilled. You know what I would have rathered? I would have rather gone to every single one of these movies in cosplay with my brother and have continued the tradition that's been standing within my family since before I can remember. That's what I would have liked. That's what I would have wanted. But that was taken from me because you destroyed it. So this is where I sit. I have a choice. I can go quietly into the night and say nothing and do nothing and allow it to be destroyed. Or I can try to use my voice and try to impact some kind of positive change for this IP that I grew up on. Those are my choices. I'm going to use my voice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of using your voice, we have a $2 super chat from the Price is Right review. Okay. I got you. I just saw that, Tom. Price is Right review for $2. Sup, the Fandom Menace. Jumanji beats Star Wars. Let that sink in. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And obviously, still it's at 700 worldwide, but it was released a week earlier. It hasn't even been released in some places. It got a really late release in Australia. I saw a comment that said it hasn't even released in Brazil yet. So it's still going to keep making more money. But yeah, it's now making more per week than Rise of Skywalker.
Well, and it doesn't really even have to make more than Rise of Skywalker to be considered more of a success. Because look at it this way. I said this in the chat earlier. I don't think you saw it, though. But Jumanji was never really a franchise. It was one movie and a cartoon. And the movie itself didn't really make that much money. And nobody remembers the cartoon.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's. But didn't Jumanji release before Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, by a week.
Yeah, about a week.
Yeah, a week. Well, it's in more theaters. I mean, it has more appeal than the Rise of Skywalker.
But that's my point. Is something that wasn't even a franchise is kicking what would be considered the biggest franchise of all time's ass.
Well, let's not take it for granted here. Let's put this into perspective for those in the chat who maybe don't follow this as well. So let's put this into perspective. A movie that has been out longer than The Rise of Skywalker is now making more money and doing better than The Rise of Skywalker, which is a newer movie and a bigger IP by far, guys. Let's just stare at that and
it's not The Rock. You can say, oh, it's just because it's got The Rock in it. No,
you know what?
No, The Rock has done a lot of movies that have tanked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a better movie. like that's what we're talking about here is people will go back. There's a reason movies have legs, and that's because word of mouth gets around. People discuss it, people talk about it, people go back and see it again. The reason a movie has good legs is because it's a good movie that people genuinely enjoy, right? Even if it's just a good popcorn flick, you can still appreciate that measure of it, right? But this movie has been out longer. It's nowhere near the same status as Star Wars, and it's doing better in theaters now for a movie that it hasn't been out as long. That is insane.
And you can see that's what this means. This is good word of mouth. That's what this means, because this shaded area is based on your opening weekend and where it should end up. Mm-hmm. And then you can see it just steadily just grew and outpaced that. And now it's just keeping going because of that word of mouth, just like you said, Mary. And then Trace XL for $10. Again, thank you, Trace. You'd have to break the law to get the kind of numbers you need to know just how much it cost versus what they made without padding their figures. How can they spin their failures otherwise?
Oh, yeah. And it's not only that, it all depends on who's asking. If you're the media and somebody in the media, well, then it only costs so much and you made $1 bajillion. But if you're somebody they owe money to, it cost way too much and it still hasn't profited yet. Perfect example, Ed Sullivan, the writer who wrote like Bill and Ted and a few other things. He wrote on Men in Black. He has yet to see one dime of residuals from Men in Black because Sony claims it still hasn't made any money. You tell me Men in Black hasn't made any fucking money.
Yeah.
Men in, like, not Men in Black
not
4 or whatever
2,
this
3
was.
or 4. No, we're talking about the original 1997 first movie.
No way. That's ridiculous.
Oh,
that's what Sony claims, that they have not made any money on the movie yet.
Wow.
That's insane.
It's nothing new. Hollywood does this all the time. Peter Jackson had to sue Warner Brothers just to get his residuals. Kevin Smith had to almost sue the Weinsteins to get his. I know there's quite a few others who have behind the doors. It doesn't always get out in public, but that's pretty much what they got to do is get a lawyer and threaten to sue. And then, oh, look at this. We found this extra book of numbers. It's
funny how that happens. Yeah.
That's such garbage. Matt G for another $2. Thank you, sir. Episode 9 may lose money. JJ got paid in dollar coins.
Well, JJ better hope he took money up front and not points. Because if he took a bunch of points, he ain't gonna see shit.
He's screwed.
Yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of money coming his way because he's gonna go ruin Warner Brothers. So
yeah, have fun with that, guys.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Unfortunately,
it's your problem now, DC.
Did you want to address something, Tom, about?
Yeah, there was one in the chat earlier. Astro Channel wrote, "Think most third films do less than the first films." That used to be the norm. Like, it used to be in Hollywood, like, we're talking 30, 40 years ago. Like, sequels weren't a big thing. Like, even Empire and Jedi didn't make as much money as the first movie did. But it changed later on. But what you had is you could guarantee yourself at least generally 50% return on what the first movie made. That was a good rule of thumb. And they wrote on that for quite a few years. But then, like, the Harry Potters and the Marvel movies and the Spider-Mans and all that kind of stuff started coming out, to where the second film started making more and more money, to the point where, like, for instance, in the Raimi trilogy for Spider-Man 3 is the highest grossing of the three, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Well, I remember the hype around that because it had built up. It had built up. Spider-Man was good. Everybody really liked it. Spider-Man 2 was incredible.
Yeah, mainly it rode off the success of 2, but yeah.
Well, and keep in mind, we're functioning now within a world where everything is a reboot, everything is a sequel. Of course, they're profitable now. That's where we're sitting in time and space. And do I like it? Do I agree with it? No, but that's where we're at, because Hollywood has altered the way that they even approach movies now. People like their little comfort zones, and so they're happy to stick with it. But
it's even funny to look at, like, the first 5 Marvel movies and how quaint it was when they made like $250 million at the box office. Like, it was some big deal. And now look at them. You know what I mean? Like, I swear that's probably the original Iron Man's gross in the States was probably between 250 and 300, I think, for the first movie, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look, but they didn't make a shit ton of money at first. I mean, they made a lot of money,
though, and it worked.
No, you're right. 585 million
worldwide, right?
Worldwide.
Yeah, it wasn't some super hit, and that's why I always try to say that. That's why I was always trying to tell people, like, to, like, be patient with the DCEU, because when the DCEU started it wasn't, it didn't have the buildup that Marvel did. Marvel had all these years of buildup. And when you look at what those first movies made, like Iron Man 2 made a lot of money. But then you had, Captain America and Thor and Hulk. Those movies weren't like doing gangbusters or anything.
Oh no. And even Grand Admiral Adam, I think he's right. He said Incredible Hulk was only like 150 million. I think you're right, at the domestic box office. It didn't do that well.
Yeah. And so you have to kind of be patient and build it up. And then once they did have this huge thing built up, and you look at things like Suicide Squad made a crap ton of money for the kind of movie that it was. So DCU they were making some financial gains. They didn't want to stick with it, unfortunately. But
and I'm one of those. I didn't like what they were doing, Ryan, but I agree they should have let Zack finish at least Justice League and stuff, because what we got with that is exactly what happened here with Rise of Skywalker. They overcorrected too much, so it was a no-win scenario for anybody. It was one thing, it's like, okay, just stay the ship, and those who liked The Last Jedi, they would have been fine and dandy with this. If you would have just fixed it and went with something like Trevorrow had written, that would have made the fans like us mostly happy. But instead, now you got a no-win scenario, because all the Raylos and the other side, they're pissed because it just shits all over The Last Jedi, and we're just sitting here stuck with a shitty film. But I mean, look at how these franchises work. Another example that's not even comic book related, the Halloween movie. The newest one made more money by itself than the entire franchise, including the Rob Zombie movies, put together.
Wow.
That's just wrap your head around that for a second, because there's like 10 movies almost in the Halloween series.
That has to do with just the adjustment of people going to movie theaters. It's what we've come to expect. It's what we've come to anticipate, is everything's a sequel. Everything is a reboot. And so people have become more acclimated to that. And I think that they're more happy and ready to accept it and willing to give that the money, because what else are you going to go see? That's what everything is these days, right? And so, I mean, like, you can even set aside the inflation. I think it's just a cultural shift as well.
Oh, yeah, because the stigma used to be you didn't want to do a sequel. And they used to even hide movies sometimes that they were sequels. Like, a lot of times you'd have that. I mean, but, they never wanted to put the number after the movie. They still don't want to do that. They hate doing that. The only time they do that is very rare occasions.
Yeah. But, I agree. And you see the success. Marvel's just changed everything. Comic books changed everything in a big way. And someone pointed out Dark Knight Rises grossed more than Dark Knight. In the same way that you had a second movie that built the anticipation and had people clamoring for what was going to happen next. And I think it's a lot based on the way media and social media and everything works. Everyone's so connected. You can build, you literally have these fan groups building hype amongst themselves, getting ready to go out and watch this movie. I was there for the midnight showing of Spider-Man 3.
Same here.
I remember that and remember thinking, what is going on? I think that was the same summer that Pirates of the Caribbean 3 released.
I think so.
That was a big deal too.
I think
it was like the summer of sequels. I remember that's what we called it.
Because I seen the second one that summer on disc, because I didn't go see it in theaters, nor did I see the third one. But I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, episode 7 is not a $2 billion movie. It's all the hype and anticipation, associated with it. It was all the other, 6 films before that. It's the same sort of logic. I mean, it's, if that came out of nowhere, it wouldn't have done gangbusters like it did.
Agreed.
On the other franchise.
Marvel primed people for Star Wars to be something epic. Marvel absolutely set people up for the next installment, right? People had shifted culturally. And look, I think Star Wars fans would have shown up, right? One way or the other. But the masses, no, man, Marvel primed those people.
Well, and I think another thing that really, not just Marvel priming people, but I think bringing back Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford was the biggest reason why that made $1.5 billion more than it did. If you wouldn't have had those 3 in there.
Too bad you didn't do shit with them. They weren't on screen at the same time, and you cucked Han Solo. Whatever.
No, I totally agree with you, Mary. And I mean, I may not totally agree with you on Marvel's in trouble, but it is up to them now to keep this going. Don't get me wrong. They could fuck this up.
I'm sure.
But they've got a long way to go before they do that. Star Wars, on the other hand, shown that it doesn't take much. Because I mean, really, if you stop and think about it, like
it actually talk Star Wars. We're talking about the second sequel, or we're talking about the second trilogy to be incredibly divisive among fans. I think it's that Star Wars has withstood a hell of a lot, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could look at it that way, especially if you want to lump the prequels in there with it. But a lot of people argue, oh, the prequels were this amazing thing. It's like, I don't think people really, that unless you were alive then, I really don't know if you realize, or if you were a little kid, to a kid, you didn't notice the other stuff, I'm sure.
Well, I wasn't a little kid, and I was there for it.
No,
I'm a defender. I was there in the thick of it. And my position on them has shifted over time. I look back on them far more fondly than I did at one point, just because I have the sequel trilogy.
In that respect, yeah, but I still don't hold them up to any higher standard because of it. I see there's a lot of people out there that do that. That's for sure. But
I think is your point that one misstep can really just torpedo an entire franchise?
When it comes to this, yeah, The Last Jedi was a big enough misstep that none of the, and to go off of what Mary's saying though, is even you had a lot of missteps between the prequels. And even if you want to say that Force Awakens was too much of a remake and all that kind of stuff, The Last Jedi did so well that it's obvious that that's ground zero for where everything went wrong.
I agree.
After that, because nobody went to see Solo, which nobody expected everybody to go, but when you didn't even get the Star Wars fans to go, and with the Rise of Skywalker, you guys pointed it out in the beginning. I think it was Ryan, that said, the people that normally would go back to these movies 6 or 7 times aren't doing that. And that's why it's not making any money. And then also the normies didn't really go. Some did.
Well, when you lose that hardcore fan base, when you lose the legitimate fans, and I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper here, but there's a difference between the masses going to see a movie because it's what's popular and the legitimate fans who would have gone and been the thing that gave this legs, that carried it through, that went and saw it 5-6 times, right? When you lose those people, you lose everything.
And I don't care. I'm not saying anybody's wrong for liking the prequels or loving you can love the Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi for all I care. That's not what I'm saying. It's just there's some people who like to look through rose-tinted glasses and think that the prequels weren't divisive or an issue when they were. That was the reason why when Disney was buying Lucasfilm, their money people squeezed every penny they could to try and give George the best deal, and the best they could come up with was like $3 billion. And George is like, no, you either give me the Marvel deal or I'm gonna walk. So they gave into him, and that may have been the only part of this where he kind of got one up on them, because
why did they give in to him?
Because they knew that Star Wars was Star Wars, Star Wars. And they knew, but they also knew going in that they weren't going to use any treatments he had. They weren't going to attach his name to this. And at that time, when the Rise of Skywalker was becoming a thing, George Lucas was kind of a stigma when it came to the Star Wars saga because of what he did with the prequels. Now, like I said, you can love or hate them all you want, but what they did was they didn't kill the Star Wars franchise, but they definitely put it in like a state of shock is the best way you can put it, because there was like hardly any merchandise for episode 2.
It wasn't the kind of damage that
not as bad as The Last Jedi did, not by far.
Like people still debate it, right? There was still something of a debate in place there, right? And I think the kind of damage it did was the kind of damage that you can recover from. It was a lot, man. It was a lot. It put.
And they did, because
Force Awakens made $2 billion.
Yeah.
It's clear that the damage wasn't irreversible.
No. You had long enough time. Revenge of the Sith was good enough that it got most of the diehards back on board. That's one thing that I don't know anybody who has said they don't like the Revenge of the Sith, at least, of all the people that I've debated or talked about the prequels with. So,
there's some people that'll say it's crap, especially some of the people. There's so many people like Disney trilogy, like defenders that are like trying to go out of their way to ruin the OT and the prequel trilogy if you like it, just because that's all they can do instead of defending their movies right now. So that obviously, listen, I can sit there and watch Revenge of the Sith and say, yeah, Padme's and Anakin's dialogue is cringy as fuck at some points. But I absolutely love the movie. I mean, I have the fight scene right here up on my wall. I love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could sit there any day and watch the Phantom Menace or Revenge of the Sith before any of these sequel movies. That's for sure.
Even their dialogue takes some leaps forward, in my opinion, right? There's one moment in Return of the Sith where Padme goes to Anakin and she's like, I'm pregnant. And they're both like, fuck, right? But she's like, what are we going to do? And he's like, this is a happy day, right? Like, I bought that moment. I bought their relationship in that moment because that's how anybody in their situation would have responded to it, right? And even their dialogue back and forth, it still has some bad moments, but it took some leaps forward too. I really enjoy the Revenge of the Sith, and I think most people can agree it's a good film.
This is Grand Admiral Adam makes an incredible point here. During the prequel era, between 99 and 2005 is when you had some of the absolute best content coming out of the expanded universe in the form of video games and things like that. You had all the Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy games. You had KOTOR and KOTOR 2. You had some things that absolutely blew up for Star Wars apart from just the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because George knew to play to the fans for the most part. You know, his thing wasn't, he didn't have a political agenda. You know, he wasn't out to dupe us in some way. And I'm not saying Disney wasn't necessarily trying to dupe us, but they were, in a sense that Kathleen Kennedy was going out of her way to interject this, you know.
Well, some would argue with you that the George Bush thing was a thing during the prequels.
It was that he kind of did say it, but it wasn't to the extent of what you see now. There's the difference.
Well, he exercised some restraint. There was some
it's kind of like comparing like the original series of Star Trek or The Next Generation to what we have now. Like it wears it right on its face now that they're trying to be, you know, political.
Right there. Yeah, that's at the forefront. You know, it's not subtext, it's not subtlety. It's just it's
right.
That's on the front, and that's fine. But if you don't, I mean, that's polarizing. To have that shit out front is polarizing right off the bat. You got to know that. So you're going to alienate some people. So
yeah, there does need to be a measure of subtlety. And I agree with you guys on that, but that's the argument that's made against it is, oh, well, George, he hated George Bush. And so there's all that nonsense. But I mean, sure. Yeah. Okay. I agree that there was an intent there, but I agree that it's how it's worn. It's not that you wore the dress. It's how you wore the dress. Right. Like,
I think he also just happened to get lucky that the president at the time was trying to start a fake war, just like the presidential stand-in in Star Wars. That's really what it boiled down to.
You gotta remember that the story treatments were written in 97, 98, and 99 before George Bush was even a thing.
So I mean, like I said, I think the timing was more than anything is what I was getting at.
Yeah, so it was not like people can say that all they want, but it's just not true. You know, these stories were planned out in the 90s. The reason the special editions were released was to get ready to ramp up for the prequels, you know, in 97. That's why this happened. That's when the stories were being finalized, and that's when the movies were being filmed. And then 99, you had to release 2002 and 2005.
Yeah, I think he actually started right. And if you go to that one, there's a documentary somewhere where you actually see him write down episode 1, the beginning. Yeah. And it was 1997, I believe, is when he started it. So
yeah. And we've got a super chat here from Daniel James, Australian at $7.99. Thank you, sir. Prequels may have hurt Star Wars, but in my opinion, Lucas redeemed his credibility with the Clone Wars. Well, the Clone Wars movie is by far the worst Star Wars movie to ever be released in theater. But
not what he meant, and you know it.
No, but again, the problem is. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I think I might be lagging a little bit or something. But as far as the Clone Wars TV series, I do agree that it just got a new generation kind of interested in it. That's what I think, and a lot of people do really enjoy it. I'm a little bit. I'm not such a hardcore Clone Wars fan. I mean, I do have all these DVD, all these Blu-ray cases back when I was trying to get into it, and I wanted to so badly. But it just kind of wasn't my thing.
I actually have one. The problem with the Clone Wars and some of the most of the EU stuff, outside of maybe a few video games, they're not as mass consumed as the films are, and how Mandalorian was. I don't even think they expected the Mandalorian to hit the normies the way it did. I really don't. I mean, I think they knew that the normies were going to pick up Disney Plus just for Disney, and they expected us to pick up Disney Plus for the Star Wars content. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully they're on the right track. I don't think Clone Wars is going to bring enough people back into Disney Plus that as they want. I really don't.
I think it'll bring a lot of Star Wars fans. Look, I think The Mandalorian is a pretty great evidence that Star Wars fans are.
Oh yeah, but you have a difference though. Is The Mandalorian will appeal to adults. There's a lot of adults who are just not going to tune into Clone Wars. They're just not.
Yeah, well, we kind of know where some of those storylines go. We have Rebels, so we've seen where Ahsoka ends up. We've seen Rex. We've seen some of these. So, but it's
that exact investment that's going to bring him back, Fox.
Yeah. Well, I will say that the hardcore, I'll say the hardcore Clone Wars fans have actually already seen almost all of these episodes. All of these, not all, but almost all of the storylines for these episodes of the Clone Wars were released already back when no one thought that this was happening. And even the rough shots of a lot of the episodes without the full animation have already been released. So a lot of these stories have actually already been told. The only one that people will be invested in, I think, is the Siege of Mandalore, because we know a little bit about it, but not too in-depth details. And since that comes to play so much in Rebels and in The Mandalorian, obviously, I do think people will be a little bit excited about that, the people that are invested. So,
no, I don't want to downplay, the EU's importance to people, because I know it's important to a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, but you've got not even probably 50% of what you would consider the Star Wars fan base actually into the EU hardcore. And then outside of the video games, they weren't massively bought by everybody. You know what I mean? Of course, a ton of people bought a lot of the video games. That was the only mass appeal thing you really had, because comic books and books don't reach the same kind of audience.
Yeah. And we've got Lethal in here with a rebuttal to his Australian friend. He says, for Australian $2, the Clone Wars is just constant retcons of trash. that's what he said. So
good.
And I see we've got we were talking about defending the prequels, and Anomaly Inc. was back again. He did he's done a great couple of videos defending the prequels, which have been awesome. And we have Mick Freezy for $5. George intended for the dialogue to be campy. He said in an interview he wanted a 1930s theatrical matinee type dialogue for the prequels. And
George says a lot of things.
Yeah. And he also, we've heard from, it's actually funny. The Mark Hamill came out, was talking about the scene where him and Harrison are talking when they're in their stormtrooper outfits, trying to figure out how to go save Leia. When he's talking really fast, he said, well, pretty much the only thing George ever told me to do was faster, more intense. So I was just taking him at his word, trying to do that. Yeah, say it faster, more intense. But yeah, that's true. We all know that George may not be the best with actors, but definitely you feel emotion in Revenge of the Sith and in a lot of the prequels. So I appreciate a super chat, Freezy. And then we have a clapback from Daniel James. He says, "Fight me, Lethal," for Australian $2.99.
You can't even get mad because it's Australian right there. So it's not even somebody being Australianist.
That's true. Yeah, I think the world, I wouldn't say that. I think the world loves Australia for the most part. They have a fondness for Australians.
Yeah.
And then Jake117 for $1.99. I've always loved the prequels. Me too, Jake. And I think that, I think that Tom has a different perspective because I think he was a little older too when they were released. Vice myself, that was when I was the peak age to be geared towards the prequels, for sure. And then Lethal Lightning for Australian $2. Ahsoka is a walking, talking contradiction.
Oh boy.
There you go, Lethal.
But go for it.
And yeah, people love Ahsoka. And maybe I'll find that clip later. People are always like, oh, George had complete control, and the TCW is exactly what George wanted it to be. I've got a clip of Dave Filoni saying that George Lucas was always firmly standing in the Ahsoka needs to die in the Jedi Purge camp. Whereas and this is Dave Filoni talking, he said, I thought Ahsoka should live. That was always my perspective. Well, what happens at the end of the day when Dave Filoni gets control of Ahsoka lives? So That's about all you have to say with the dedication and the honor they're paying to George Lucas, because he loved the character. So Jack Random for $10. All of these things, the left versus the right, is being done by design. The elites use people on both sides to foment discord. They've hated USA since 1776 and want it destroyed. Discord is accelerating. I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. There's a lot of people that would like us to be fighting about literally everything. Whatever it is, they want you to be fighting about it. And you're right, they kind of don't care what side you're on. They just want people to be at each other's head, whether it be divided on racial lines, gender lines, political lines, whatever it is. That's what they want. So I appreciate the super chat. Then $10 from my boy, George Big Dick Lucas. The thing about the prequels, the story is consistent and easy to understand, yet execution was bad. It made some sense story-wise. George got impressed with CGI, so he overused it. I think that at the end of the day, the prequels are George's story. That's one of the things. He had enough money. He was able to do this and stay independent without letting the story that he wanted to tell get corrupted, which is something we have not seen at all with the sequel trilogy. I don't like J.J. Abrams. I don't like Rian Johnson. However, I do think that if you would let, if you would let the sequel trilogy be a consistent story all the way throughout without any interference from the talking heads above, it would have been a better story. I would not have liked it, likely, but I do think it would have been better overall.
Bare minimum coherence.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Anomaly. The prequels require no defense. Oh, yes. Daniel James, Australian $2.99. Haha, fair. At least Clone Wars was canon. Ooh, there you go. There you go, Lethal. At least Clone Wars was canon. But hey, thank you guys for all the super chats. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And that kind of brings us, something that got tweeted by Jack there. Whoops, pull that down. Was the thing about the right and the left. And this article came out. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this article. It got published, I believe, yesterday in the Washington Post. Yes, the publication, the Washington Post, with the sub-headline, "Don't expect a new Fandom Menace to emerge this time around." So, yes, the Washington Post is writing about the Fandom Menace. What do you guys think about that?
That's right. My name is on your lips. My name is on your lips. Suckers.
Looks like we made it, kids.
No, but this isn't a good thing, though. This is straight up propaganda.
Well, I mean, we're being associated with the alt-right.
Right.
Yeah. So, no, it's not good.
Pun not intended when I say that, but yeah. And not only that, I mean, and I've said this before, there's only one reason why you would call somebody a Trump supporter and expect it to get a rise out of them, and that's if you know they're not.
But that's just it, though. It's no different than what's been going on all along, right? This isn't any different, right? I'm used to this at this point, right? I'm used to you rumbling and fussing and bitching and complaining and calling me things that aren't true and not even acknowledging my existence. Oh, we am in power, but let's not even acknowledge the females in the Fandom Menace because it's just run by a bunch of old white males in their mother's basements, right? Like, I'm used to this at this point. It's nothing new. So I get that it's propaganda, but it's not anything I'm not prepared to deal with.
No, I know, but this is actually kind of dangerous, and it is libel because there's a lot of us and there's a few people that they may not necessarily say their names, but they're alluding to them, and you know exactly who the fuck they mean. And it's bullshit, and it's getting to the point where this is just, it's ridiculous. I mean, the movies are over. Fine, let it go. Let it go then, if that's the case. Now, this is, to me, something they're trying to start some kind of narrative once again and get some kind of movement against us is what they're trying to do. And not only that, read between the lines here. What's the quickest, easiest way to get us all jacked off of YouTube real quick?
Be associated with the alt-right. Hate speech. Is that what you're saying, Tom?
Pretty much. I mean, that's just it. I mean, we know there's these new regulations. And a lot of us are very careful not to, attack anybody individually. We'll go after characters. We'll go after stories. But we're very, very careful. Never, as far as I know, people I associate with, or at least videos I watch and stuff, and you guys, it's kind of scary what they're setting up here to me. I really don't like it.
This is the same. They boil everything down to let's just marginalize these people. Let's associate them. And you see in the article, they try to associate us with basically white supremacists, racists, the most vile evil of the evil. It can't just be debate the argument on its merits. Let's just sort of push people to this way. I mean, you see this happen. Ben Shapiro is mentioned in the. I don't want to get ahead of us, but Ben Shapiro is mentioned in the article. I mean, he's been targeted by the alt-right. They've issued death threats to him, but yet for the sake of this, this reporter, the author of this article, she connects them and puts him on the side of the alt-right. And that's what they do to everyone who they disagree with. They're alt-right. They're evil. Don't listen to them. They don't have a point. They don't have a voice. And you're right, Tom. It is dangerous because when you're associated with that group, with that dark side, they want to shut you down. They want to silence you.
Yeah, and I will say, like the terms are so loose, and they throw these terms around like nothing because the alt-right has now been. It used to not be, but now it is basically when you say that when it's thrown out by these liberal establishments, they're talking about white nationalists or white supremacists. I think white nationalists is probably the way most of them say it, but white nationalists, spoiler alert, are not huge fans of the Jewish man Ben Shapiro. So to try to equate them doesn't make a whole lot of sense, at least not in my mind. And Christy says, sorry, Washpost used BuzzFeed as a damn source. Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. But I wanted to get into this a little bit because this article is just bullshit. It's like, it's not, it doesn't even make sense because from the outset, they're trying to set up this false dichotomy that the Rise of Skywalker satisfies right-wing or conservative-leaning fans, and The Last Jedi was made for liberals. It's just a very strange thing because I don't know what Fox's politics are. I don't know what Mary's politics are. I don't know what Tom's politics are. If I had to guess, I would say that if you pulled the entire Fandom Menace, it might lean a little bit to the conservative side. But I don't know really anybody's politics because it's not
probably
important.
More 50-50 than anything.
I think it's pretty close.
A lot more than you probably think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people who are more vocal about their feelings, but there are a lot of people who keep them to themselves, or like our channel where we do their best not to get politics involved, at least our own personal politics especially. Sorry, go ahead, Mary. You were going to say something.
No, it's look, I can't speak for everybody else, but I personally don't give a crap about your politics. Mine don't get brought up very often because mine are I'm a libertarian. My guy's never going to be in office. I gave that up a long time ago, guys. And there's a lot of people like me here who have just, it doesn't matter. The lack of politics are what we want. We don't want the politics, period. And so a lot of people you'll find are actually center. I think a lot of people are very, very center, at least certainly a lot of the people that I speak to, but you'd never know that from the way that we're depicted. You'd never know that from the way that we're depicted. They put us out there as though we are these far right-wing people when most of the people that you talk to, hey, spoiler alert, guys, I'm bisexual and I have over 6,000 subscribers, closing in on 7. That's a whole hell of a lot of people to be in the Fandom Menace who are homophobic yet follow a bisexual. That's terribly interesting. I'd say that if these people were far right and had serious issues with homosexuals, then they wouldn't be following me.
Well, they didn't know that, Mary. Now they're going to unsubscribe to prove your point.
I'm terrified. Yeah, I don't know.
Teresa brings up a great point. Sorry, Fox. We don't know each other's politics because it's not what we're about.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And
we got enough other shit to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the basis of any. People do this when they don't want to have the discussion, when they don't want to debate the points. They label you and push you off to the side. It happens to everyone, especially people on the right, conservative lately. It's easy because they don't really punch back, right? So we just punch them, and then it's fine. If you go to my channel and probably everybody, well, yes, everybody on this panel, you're going to look at us laying out reasons why we didn't like The Last Jedi. XYZ. It's not going to be political arguments. I don't have any political discussions about the movie. I have a lot of serious issues with what was done to characters that I know and love. You know, that's where I'm coming from. And I want to be able to discuss those with other people that feel not necessarily the same way, but will be receptive to what I have to say. And then we can go back and forth. But there's not a lot of political arguments that we're making, at least, you know, us here, about the issues we have with Disney Star Wars. It's about characters. It's about story. It's about execution, what we see on screen. And that stuff, while it's there and it's distracting, it's not the main points.
Yeah, this reminds me of the whole communism bullshit back in the day.
Yeah.
Where you had comic books even got caught up in that.
You talking about like the 80s?
No. I'm talking way back.
Like the 50s? Like McCarthyism?
Yes. I'm talking, it's the same kind of thing.
I thought you meant when you were living. You're not that old, Tom.
No, but it is.
Okay.
It's that dangerous. It's that bad. It's that short-sighted. It's that generalizing. It's that polarizing. And it's that blanketed of a type of situation where simply you can destroy somebody because they don't agree with you. And you can call them whatever, you know, replace commie with racist.
Yeah, we've seen, because if you look back at history, you're right, Tom, we've seen where this goes. People rounded up and put in camps, Americans. I mean, we got to be able to just go back and forth and, you know, listen, hey, you're over here, I'm over here. We just can't agree, but that's all right. You go live your life, I'll live mine. It's when we begin to shut people down. We kick them off Twitter, we kick them off YouTube. How far are we from that point to where people are they're losing their jobs? They
already are.
Yeah, they can't function. They can't survive in this environment.
We already live in a cancel culture.
Yeah, well, exactly. We've seen it already.
Yeah. So, oh look, there's Mary. She's here.
Hey, girl.
We actually get to see those gorgeous eyes. Oh, I'm being a toxic male. Bad time.
Yes, we are.
But so let's.
I think you're muted, Mary.
Bring on the toxic masculinity.
There we go. But so let's get into a little bit here, this actual article, just so people know. It basically says right-wing trolling, and they don't know what trolling is either. The person who wrote this article, I actually, like, when I made my video, I like said, how old are you? Because you don't understand what trolling is. But I mean, I think she's like 30 or something. But right-wing trolling of the film was mild compared to the backlash against The Last Jedi. This latest movie avoided that ire by moving Star Wars politically right. So has Lucasfilm replaced its right-wing troll problem with a left-wing one? Probably not. Compared to the previous film, TRS slighted fans with less visibility in fandom media and fewer ways to monetize their criticisms. So this article from the get-go is telling you that, one, The Rise of Skywalker was a right-leaning movie, which is insane. And two, that the left-leaning fans have less power than the right-leaning ones. That's what they're trying to say.
Victim status. It's to apply a victim status to it.
Maybe if they'd go to see a fucking movie. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's what's stupid. That's me. It's that I was making a joke because I would assume that all the people who didn't go to see it were just, you know, left-wing. No, that's not true. You know, and it's the.
Well, and as if we were pleased by this, let's grant them, for the sake of argument here, that this boiled down to right wingers and left wingers, right? Let's say that we were right wingers, right? We didn't like the fucking movie. We didn't like it. We did not like this movie. So it's not
right.
Pleasing right wingers. So your argument is invalid there, right? Because it had a little less progressivism. Because there was a little less Ray. Well, first of all, there was plenty of Ray Mary.
I was going to say, actually, I'd argue it was there, but most people just ignored it or didn't notice it because you have the first bit of the movie where Poe comes right out and says, you know, we wouldn't have got our ass kicked if you were there. And how many times does Poe say, we couldn't do this if it wasn't for you?
But their point.
Or you're no Leia, right?
Marie Tran isn't as prevalent in that, and so that's why this is placating right wingers. Well, first of all, for those of us who read the Colin Trevorrow script, Kelly Marie Tran was front and center in that. Most of us thought it was better, right? Because there were stakes involved in that. So you're not appeasing right wingers. You have one thing to point to, just one thing, and that's that a woman of color wasn't as prevalent.
Well, but so her role was reduced. Okay, fine, but then they added Lando. They added Janna.
Mm-hmm.
Zori Bliss, not, you know, a woman of color, but she is a woman. Finn basically is confirmed he's got freaking force sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe her role was diminished, but many other people of color, if you're checking your diversity scorecard, you freaking shallow people. That was all added. So, name all the white dudes that they added to the cast. Palpy, well, he got blowed up at the end. So
just that new bad guy.
Yeah.
No, Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dominic Monaghan, but he was only there on a bet or whatever.
Yeah,
JJ's buddy.
Also died.
Well, JJ's buddy was actually in The Force Awakens. Are you talking about the chubby?
Oh no, that's right. Yeah,
no, that's Snap Wexley. That's
yeah.
Wexley.
That's what I thought you meant.
Greg Gunberg or something.
Very, very, very small role.
Our little
Sorry.
discount.
I thought that's who you meant. My bad, 19K Fox.
Yeah, Discount Porkins.
Discount Porkins.
No, Dominic Monaghan had the great role. They were like, Palpatine's back, and he's like,
what?
Sith alchemy, cloning. Yeah, one of those things.
Dark powers.
Totally never happened before in Star Wars.
Could it be Soren?
Cloning, guys, never took place in Star Wars. Oh yeah, the Clone Wars.
So
Saruman did it. I swear.
We have a super chat from Dr. Jagus for $5. Lincoln Osiris impression. It's been a while since I've watched Tropic Thunder. I believe that's Lincoln Osiris.
Pump your brakes, kid. Those prequels are national treasure.
There you go. You got it. That shit ain't funny. Love you guys and praise be to you. Well, thank you, Dr. Jagus. I hope you appreciate it. It was there's two people doing an impression of Lincoln Osiris. God, imagine Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface right now.
Did you hear on an interview and asked about that?
What did he say?
He said, well, we might be able to do it today, but probably not.
Yeah.
I watched The Office on reruns on Netflix, and I'm like, God, it's so inoffensive, but there's some things they just can't say.
You can't do that now. There's no way.
It's sad.
No way. I mean, and it was funny because it was so irreverent or so out of place or so politically incorrect. That's why it was funny.
You know what's funny is you could show some of these like crazy nuts, and I'm not saying it's the left or the right. I'm talking about the crazy nuts now, okay? Because these are really who the people we're talking about.
Extremes.
Yeah, if you show them All in the Family right now, they would lose their shit.
Those were the days.
And it's like, do you guys not realize that this show is totally preaching to you?
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't get it at all. They would be so oblivious to the joke. That's how bad it is. Anyway, sorry, I just had to say that.
That's good. So let's continue on here. So right-wing anger. After TLJ, an online campaign took issue with the film's feminism, leftism, and diverse casting, and also trash storytelling, shitting on the lore, breaking Star Wars canon, overall terrible story. Yeah, they forgot to mention that part. This right-wing critique was so durable that it has a nickname, the Fandom Menace, which even Lucasfilm uses. And J.J. Abrams did use the phrase Fandom Menace.
I love how they ignore literally everything that we've been saying in our videos. Because look, the Fandom Menace has been at this for a couple of years now. I personally have been here for a year, okay? I just hit my 1 year anniversary on the 12th of this month. I've been at this for a year, guys. And everything that we talk about in our films or in our videos is about how upset and frustrated we are with how canon breaking this stuff is, how destructive it is to Star Wars. That's what we talk about, is the destruction to Star Wars. That's why we're here. But you focus on this other stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with why we're here in the first place. We're frustrated and upset about Star Wars, but this is all about right wing and politics. We want the politics out of our stuff, okay? I would be just as upset if you had people in there pushing right wing politics as the left wing stuff. This is about Star Wars. That's why we're here. It's called the Fandom Menace, you morons.
Exactly. Yeah, you morons. That's toxic, Mary.
You're so toxic.
I can get away with it because boobs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
And then here, anger at TLJ became a business. Popular anti-TLJ videos on YouTube have millions of hits, translated to tens of thousands of dollars for their creators.
Where's this money?
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that means that people are interested in it. There's a desire to talk about it. We couldn't, or I say we, y'all couldn't be as popular as you are without a hunger or a thirst for this.
That's a great point. They kind of BTFO themselves. They're like, these people put out their feelings about a film and millions of people want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, here you have, and here's the irony of it. We're getting it from a newspaper who literally does the same motherfucking thing on a daily basis. About everything.
You go to their website, it's almost unreasonable because of all the ads that keep popping up. But
and not just that, but that they're literally milking your political view, your religious view, your sexual view, your view on children, your view on this, your view on that on a daily basis to get you to read their fucking shit. So like 19K Fox said, you see those 20 ads for Walmart and Amazon.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad
So
I'm
don't
on
tell
this,
me that. And then I take personal offense to this because you know what? A lot of us channels that they're even about to bring up, like Geeks and Gamers and EBS and Nerdrotic and Doomcock, and they don't include us, but we're in there too, for fuck's sake. We've all been around a hell of a lot longer than this whole fucking situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think that we're going to go anywhere because this is done with, then you're fucking dead wrong. If you think we're somebody because of this, you're dead fucking wrong. Sorry, I'm swearing, Ryan. I didn't ask for permission.
This is my channel. I always swear.
I wasn't sure, but I thought you did.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I take offense to this because it's just like those idiots who are like, oh, now that Star Wars is done, you guys aren't going to have anything to make videos about. It's like, oh, yeah. God damn, I forgot they're never going to make another movie ever again, let alone a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you saw the boom that there was with Charlie's Angels and Terminator Dark Fate. Like, it's not just Star Wars that people care about. It's pop culture in general. Sorry. And unfortunately, with what's going on in Hollywood, there's a lot to talk about. And there's a lot of people that want to listen. Mm-hmm. We have another super chat from Trace XL. Thank you, brother. You've been very generous today. This is like the popular kids in school pointing and laughing at us nerds in our corner of the lunchroom playing D&D. Look at these weirdos and their opinions. Shut the fuck up, media. Go bust one to hashtag Raylo.
No, but that's what pisses us off is these same media or the kids that are laughing at us playing D&D will buy D&D 10, 15 years later and try to exploit it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because they know it's popular with people like us. They know it'll make money. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what these companies are doing basically, and that's why we're here.
They do that, and they play on the feels, and they know we'll support it because we do religiously. I mean, you know, even when movies aren't coming out, we still support it. Mm-hmm. And they change it, and they twist it, and then we say, "Hey, wait a minute, that thing that we love, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And they'll say, "Shut up, consume." Mm-hmm. They wonder why. I mean, this is a problem of their own making because they didn't understand what they had to begin with.
Right. Well, and then fans feel exploited. Fans absolutely feel exploited. We're invested in this. This is something that has meant something to us for many of us for our entire lives, right? And so we begin to feel more than just a little bit exploited when we've invested time and mass amounts of money into these properties, when a lot of traditions have revolved around these things, and then you begin to kind of stab us in the back and then get angry at us and call us names because we just wanted a good damn story, and suddenly we're the bad guys because we don't want to give you our money when you give us something that's subpar at best.
I can't believe you wanted a good story, Mary.
How dare you?
How dare you? It's like being in a bipolar relationship. They try and make you feel like it's your fault.
Yeah. When you're dating crazy.
You didn't like this. It's your fault. You're the one who's not woke enough. You're the racist.
How dare?
I love everybody always pointing fingers at each other. You're the real racist.
Mm.
So right-wing personalities sell Fandom Menace apparel. Entrepreneurs raised $50,000 in seed money for an anti-The Last Jedi comic book. I believe this is actually based on reaction to The Force Awakens. Evidently, they didn't do their research. And almost $10,000 for a history of the Fandom Menace.
Never mind the $10,000 we raised for El Salvador.
Yeah, forget that.
That's true already. And the thousands of dollars we raised for Australia and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, fuck that.
They always ignore that. They ignore people like Anna and Mecca and Mary and so on. And, you know, I'm surprised they even brought Jeff into this because guess what?
Person of color.
It's what I said. I said these people obviously haven't actually, done their research on world-class bullshitters, and they don't understand the diversity points that group of gentlemen would have. So, or else they probably wouldn't be criticizing them. Many observers see Rise of Skywalker as an apology to Last Jedi haters. Of the 53 reviewed by or reviews by top critics, 44 described the movie as a reversal intended to win over fans that disliked TLJ. The Rise of Skywalker invites the perception that it's made with the same conservative, white, and male audiences in mind. After suggesting there would be a same-sex relationship, filmmakers included two women, one being, listen, no offense, but it was, I wish they would have maybe included a more attractive woman to be the kisser in that, but I'm just saying that would have maybe made the movie more tolerable. Two women kissing in the background. It wasn't the background. It was actually the forefront of the scene. A moment easily censored for overseas markets.
Yeah, that's part of what pissed us off is that
and they're putting that on us.
Blame China. Don't blame us.
yeah,
Right?
Hell.
That's not our fucking fault.
we were fine with it. We were not the ones that had an issue with it. It was China. You didn't censor it for us, did you? No, you censored it for China. What the fuck are you talking about right now?
I know, right?
Guys, this movie was totally more made for us because we're right-leaning, but then you stick that in there, and but the movie was made for us.
If this movie was made for us, it would have started with Luke Skywalker going, "Oh my God, that was the worst dream I ever had."
Thank you. They look over the fact that this is about Star Wars for us. They paint us with this political brush as if that has anything to do with it. This is not about the politics, about what politics it is. It is about, we don't want any of it. We just want, look, I even would have been fine with some political undertones, right? Some occasional little there's some, it's okay. There's some nuance here, right? You can stick some messages into these things as movies do all of the time, right? But you have to do it with a good story. Don't destroy Star Wars to do it. And that's what they're missing here. That's what they're completely missing, is that this is now and has always been about what you're doing to Star Wars. That's all we care about.
Exactly.
Why would they assume that they know what I like? I mean, I'm a white male. Why would they assume my movie-going preferences? I'm offended.
Well, and there's a way to do political things, and we brought it up, but I mean, just like an example, look at the First Order. We all are sitting here asking how, after the rebels destroyed the Empire, is the First Order back all of a sudden? Well, explain that to us. Explain to us that they are out there. They're making all these, very influential, important people feel like, everything's going great. They're making a lot of money, but yet there's all these poor people who are being squeezed to to near death. And we have that in Trevorrow's script.
What if I told you instead that there's a group of 300 million random Sith Eternal people on a hidden planet that no one knows of that somehow managed to create 10,000 Star Destroyers under the surface of the planet?
Dude, that's way better.
Would that be better?
I would say, what are you smoking and where do I get it and how much is it?
Ask J.J. Abrams. I don't know. We have a $5 super chat from Rosetta, just to pad your coffers since you are clearly rolling in the dough from the Star Wars hate. Hashtag Fandom Menace. Hashtag Fandom for
I'm gonna
life.
tell you guys, this is the honest to God truth. At After Dark, you guys literally keep the lights on with your super chats. Like, if it wasn't for the super chats, we would not make any money at all. There would be no way I would be able to do that channel. I would just be doing main channel stuff.
Yeah. And well, first of all, thank you for the super chat, Rosetta. And it's for the people. I've had people ask me several times, like, do you do this for a job? There's no way in hell that I on this channel could do this for a job. No way. There used to be a time and a long time ago at YouTube with ad revenue when it meant something, but
you could have about 50,000 subscribers, and if you got at least an average of 5 to 10K views on, whatever 5 videos you dropped in a week, you could probably make a living a year, 2 years ago on YouTube. You can't now. There's no way. Like, that's why we have to start we hate doing it, and we understand when people bitch in some of our latest videos on the main channel that we have the VPN ads, but you know what? If it wasn't for those VPN ads, we wouldn't be able to do this, guys. I mean, I know most of you guys listening now understand that, but I'm just saying, we hate doing it, but we at least find a company that we know is not going to mess with our opinion on stuff. They're going to demand us to say, something nice about Disney or anything like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but it's still, it is kind of like, we really wish we wouldn't have to do something like that.
And Cronus,
$5 to $10 per 1,000 views.
yeah, I wish that was the
There's
case.
no fucking way.
Yeah, I wish.
You're lucky if you get about $1 per K.
Roughly.
I'll tell you, I had, I'll just tell you straight up, I had my Joaquin Phoenix video blew up, or not my Ricky Gervais video blew up. It got like 55,000 views, and I got about $20 for that. So, and that's a huge video for a channel my size.
Yeah.
So it just depends. It's really strange.
I've
YouTube
had
is weird.
20K videos only make like literally 50 some cents.
Yeah, and it wasn't demonetized. It wasn't limited monetization. No. It was just weird. I don't know.
And you can write them, and they'll just say, "Oh, that's just the way the cookie crumbles." Yep. That's pretty much what they say.
Yeah, and what are you going to do? You can't fight it beyond that.
At the end of the day, I'm just happy people are here and supporting us and supporting me and watching my stuff at the end of the day.
Well, when you ask yourself as a viewer watching this content, why are we here? Why are we doing this? Please know it's not for the damn money. Okay. It's not for the money. We're here because there's a measure of passion and zeal that drives us. We care about these IPs and we care about this community. There's an investment here that goes way beyond money, guys, because that's not.
Oh yeah. Time is invested, family, sacrifices and other things. And really, I mean, part of it too, not to interrupt you, Mary, you could maybe bounce off this though, is that we got to make sure that what we're giving you is worth your time. To sit here and listen to us. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to point that out.
We're not here for the money, guys, because I could go work 2 jobs and make probably thousands more dollars a month than I do for the time that I put into my channel and into the community. But I'm here because I love this, because this is what I want to do, because this is where I want to be. Because these are the IPs that I love. No, we're not here for money, guys. And the hyperbole thrown into this kind of an article, acting like this community at large is making bank, y'all. Like that's why we're here. That's ridiculous. There are a couple of channels that make decent money. By and large, most of these channels are not anywhere near that. We're just here because we love it.
Yeah, very true. Well said. And Fox is just sitting there under 1,000 subscribers thinking, well, you guys get paid.
Wait, there's money?
Yeah, exactly.
Go subscribe to the other half of my shipping here, guys. He is fantastic. He's not just easy on the eyes, although he is that. He makes good content to boot.
It's like everybody else on this panel and thousands of other channels out there. I do this because I enjoy this IP, this thing is my childhood. I mean, Star Wars, Millennium Falcon, lightsabers, all this captured my imagination and my love. And it took a little kid in Texas and gave him a view of there's more out there, So when we see something like this being trashed, misused, not cherished, like we would, good God, if we could make a Star Wars movie, it would take probably 20, 30 years. We would just, fuss over every little detail. And that's the level of love and care you have here. So, no, I'm not going after you because of race, color, creed, or any of this BS. I'm not all right. I'm just a guy who cares about Star Wars, giving my 2 cents, and that's all it's worth.
An exceptionally hot guy who cares about Star Wars.
We get it.
There you go.
Making it out for everybody, y'all.
And then,
oh, my God, Mary, do you like 19K Fox? I didn't know.
What? Tom, I love you.
I know everybody loves me.
Listen to Tom there.
I was being sarcastic.
But so Jack Random for $5 again. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. SJWs have anger because box office shows their dialogue to change things isn't working on people. When that happens, they turn to name calling.
Well, not just that, they're not even going. I think Ghostbusters proved that. The Charlie's Angels, I couldn't think of the fucking name. Charlie's Angels proved that. And I love it when Andre points it out, and I love to point it out for him, that more women went to see Rambo opening weekend than went to see Charlie's Angels. I think that speaks right there.
Look at
volumes.
You're exactly right. Look at the box office for Bad Boys 3. Women are going to see that too.
Hell yeah.
I sat in a theater with a bunch of women that were laughing their ass off, enjoying it.
Oh, women love Will Smith.
Oh, you kidding me? Yeah. Everybody in my theater had a ball. That's what we want. It's escapism. And we don't want politics. We get enough of that day in and day out. We want to go. We want to see. Sometimes we just want some good old fashioned badassery.
And I'm glad Bad Boys is doing well, and I hope it is good. I've heard good things about it. I haven't got a chance to see it because of the weather and not having the time. But
when you get the time to check it out, it's definitely worth it, man.
You seen it?
Yes, I have.
Oh, good.
Wow. I was disappointed in 2, but
Me too.
Yeah, it's just you had 1, 2 was This is the template for a perfect sequel.
Well, I think they already announced they're going to do a 4th one, but
yeah, they already have. That's crazy.
And I will say, watch 2 on Netflix right before you watch this because there's so much connective tissue there. It pays off in great ways. It's good.
Well, that's good. If it makes part 2 better, that's a good thing.
It does. It's really, and I'm just going to say Martin Lawrence surprised the hell out of me. He's great in it.
Good. I'm glad to hear. I hope that it is. I really do, because it's even better when a sequel can lift up the film before. And that's what we wanted The Rise of Skywalker to do. Mm-hmm. That's what the Colin Trevorrow script would have done. And I, as much as I love Annie Trecker, he's wrong when he says that it's a good thing that The Rise of Skywalker basically flipped off The Last Jedi so many times. No, it's not. Your movie shouldn't have to comment on the other movie. It should be a result of, or it should be, and that's what I loved about that script, is everything was happening organically. It was because of this, and therefore this, and then MacGuffin. I
think it depends on your perspective here. And look, I'm of 2 perspectives here. I recognize as a Fandom Menace, or as a person who wanted to send a message to Lucasfilm, that I appreciate the middle fingers because I appreciate the shit show. You've only confirmed everything I believed, right? You've confirmed all of my worst suspicions, Lucasfilm. I knew you were running around like chickens with your heads cut off, and now it's on the screen and we can all see it. So I appreciate it from that perspective. But as a person who loves Star Wars, who wants Star Wars to do well, it's not good, guys. It's bad for the overall. It's bad that we wound up here, is what I'm saying. We should never have wound up here. I wish they'd had more sense than this. You've confirmed what I thought by putting this out there, but I would have liked for you to have done better.
Well, and that's where I was getting at, is, you can have all the middle fingers you want all day long. It still doesn't make the movie better. It doesn't make the trilogy better. And that's the whole point, is now we have this mess of, it's not even a trilogy. You can't call it a trilogy. Just because they have the same actors, it doesn't mean shit.
Yep.
Nope. Doesn't mean a thing.
No.
Yeah. It's clearly, it's so disjointed and disconnected. But so the next thing they go over here is they talk about the Kelly Marie Tran harassment, which wasn't harassment. We've gone over that so many times.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah. Everybody knows that that's garbage at this point. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's called McMuffins, not McGuffin.
McMuffin.
Yeah,
yes,
McMuffins.
For those of you in the chat who are going on about how I'm abandoning Mahler for 19K Fox, Mahler would have to give a crap that I was alive for me to abandon him for 19K Fox. Fox is sitting right here, knows who I am, and holla at your girl. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
Praise.
Ryan, can we go get our own stream, please?
No.
kick them in the back room and let them do their thing.
Yeah, just let them do their thing.
Bring them back in. Well, let me take a look at Fox. Bring them back in. Disheveled. Bring them back in 7 minutes.
In heaven, woo!
Yeah,
I remember that reference.
So, one critic illustrated all this with a list of TRS moments that undermine TLJ's commitment to diversity. For example, Rise of Skywalker explains certain feats by women in TLJ were only possible because of help from men or sheer dumb luck, which that's referring to something they had to explain, which was the hold home maneuver. Because if you don't explain that, then literally your final solution could just be send a fighter to every one of the Star Destroyers and jump to hyperspace.
It's a canon issue, you morons.
Yeah, exactly. These people don't understand Star Wars.
Well, not only that, like you guys pointed out earlier, so what if Rose Tico got shoved to the back a little bit? You had a brand new character who was black, and you also had Lando come back. Right there.
Yeah, if we get the scorecard, we're up 2 right there. Zori was a female. I mean, and Finn was vaulted. I mean, finally, Finn got a little bit of something more to do.
True.
you know, he's more sensitive. You know, he's not just screaming Ray.
There with the black chick. That's so fucking racist.
They South Parked his ass. That I did say too. That was the other thing, was they did South Park his ass.
Why didn't you put him with Ray? Then you could have had an interracial couple and people.
Oh, they couldn't do that though. Remember?
Why not? Oh, that's right. We had
Strong, independent women.
They were gonna make.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They were okay with an abusive relationship, but not an interracial one.
Right.
They can't sell that in They can't sell that in China. That's the problem.
China, freaking China.
They had to make Finn disappear on the Chinese posters just to release it there.
Right.
And what's sad is it's not even so much that okay, you could sure to a point China is racist or xenophobic, whatever. Yeah. But they actually like people like Will Smith and shit.
And they just be true, or if the leaks are to be believed, they like freaking J.J. Abrams had a hell of a time getting Finn up on the screen because they were scared of putting a strong black man up there.
Well, right.
They were worried that they were going to have a backlash about putting a black man up there. But if these are your beliefs and these are your convictions, you're so worried about being progressive, then why on earth would you worry about the racist? Funny enough, most everybody in the Fandom Menace, well, let me rephrase that because I don't get to speak for everybody here. A lot of people, I've run across a lot of people here within the Fandom Menace who are incredibly indignant over what happened to Finn, right? Over the fact that you cucked the poor guy. You left him running around with nothing of significance to do. And he ultimately wound up being nothing more than a guy who just shouts, "Way!" And then, oh, hey guys, he got divorced. It doesn't mean anything, but he got divorced. Hooray.
Right. And like, where'd it go? It was in the chat. Oh yeah. Trey Courtney says, don't they love The Rock there too? Yeah, it doesn't matter. That part, it's not so much that they're racist. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they are, like I said, and a little xenophobic or whatever, however you want to put it. They want to see movie stars. They don't want to see these people they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care about Star Wars. So you had to have something other than Star Wars to bring these people in. And it sure as hell wasn't going to be Rey and Finn and Poe and these other nobodies that nobody knows. And they have no attachment to the original cast. Why do you think Harrison Ford was the biggest person on the Chinese poster? That's the only thing they had to sell the movie over there.
Yeah, exactly. We had a super chat $2.99 from Raging Rhino. You guys are awesome. Hail the Fandom Menace. Hail. Well, thank you, Raging Rhino. I hope you got some subs, man. I hope a couple people went your way.
At least one in me.
Awesome. What?
I subbed.
Oh, can you rephrase that, please?
Oh, shut up.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't talking about Fox.
All right. Despite all of this, the left-wing trolling campaign against TROS is unlikely. Fandom politics and nature of internet media will probably curb the backlash. Again, trolling. I don't know what she means by trolling. A smaller fandom platform. The most visible Star Wars fan media is made by white men. For example, until 2018, the Star Wars website included links to fan podcasts, which I collected for past research. 38 of the 56 shows had male hosts. Only one had a person of color.
Oh.
Some of these fan media outlets supported the TLJ backlash. For example, Rebel Force Radio, hail Rebel Force Radio, one of the oldest outlets, pivoted to cater to a right-wing audience. By right-wing...
what?
Right-wing what? Right-wing what? You decided we were right-wing, so we're right-wing what?
By right-wing, they are... What they mean is people that didn't like The Last Jedi. That's what they mean. Yeah.
And we're being judged on the fact that what the Star Wars website decided to carry. Did you notice that?
Yes, exactly. What they decided to post links to.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with what was actually out there.
I guarantee you there's more people that are doing Star Wars podcasts than that, you know?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, look at, like, just in our own general little circle we have here, you know, it's like, come on, give me a break.
I'm subscribed to hundreds of people that talk about Star Wars. I haven't counted how many of them are black, though. I'll make sure to do that tonight.
That's my point. I know a lot of them that are black, and I know a lot of them that are not white, and I know a lot of them that are like not men.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Here's what I think is funny. And look, I haven't taken a census or anything, so you could take this with a grain of salt if you like. But here's something I think is funny. I think within this community, there's probably a bit of over representation in terms of females and people of color and people who are definitely LGBTQ, right?
I kind of agree with that.
more so than the percentage that are going to see the movie is anyway, because it was what, like 20% a non-white audience, and of that 20%, 10% I think was black, and then only like a smaller percentage than that was women. So they actually probably lost women this time around.
You've got a huge population of women within the Fandom Menace. You've also got a huge population of people of color, and you've also got a huge representation of LGBT. Look, you've got, I can think of 3 off the top of my head if I get to include myself here. Mecha Random and I are both bisexual, and then Laura, It's a Short Story, is a lesbian, right? And then of course, and then Justin Proper is also bisexual. You have a big representation, at least compared to the normal ratio out there in the real world, I guess, as it were. There's just the representation here is, I think, above normal, and I think that's something that they don't ever like to acknowledge.
But is it close enough to the representation on a CW show? That's the real question.
Oh yeah, let's go by that.
We got feelings in hallways. Fuck you.
Hold it down. I can't handle that. No way.
Fox doing Batwoman review.
Yeah, it's new tonight, so
You poor guy.
I may kill myself. I'm not sure.
Please don't. I need you.
So this is the part here that it gets, and this is the funny thing this is the thing that kind of like set me not over the edge, but it like got me animated when I did my review, was for forever they have been telling us the Fandom Menace is a small group of people. They don't matter. You don't matter. You're a small voice. No one cares. Then, J.J. Abrams drops our name. All these people make it clear that they're talking about us. There's articles being written. And then here, fans who feel slighted by Rise of Skywalker's politics will not have a comparable platform. Female, non-white, and LGBT fans control fewer fan outlets. They also experience more online harassment, discouraging them with engaging with the larger fandom.
From you guys.
Less powerful groups are also especially likely to practice transformative fandom, creating new things rather than trying to control the direction of official Star Wars media, like weird Reylo art. For example, fans disappointed with Rise of Skywalker have already created fix-it art, charity fundraisers, and memes celebrating TLJ and favorite characters.
But we don't do anything for charities.
Yeah, we don't have a guy that fixes trailers, do we?
No. No, we don't contribute at all, guys. We're completely worthless. Fucking tards.
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of makes the point that we're so minute, small, we don't matter, like you said, Ryan, but yet we're such a force on the internet that the left can't even get a hold because we're so abusive, and we have, I guess, a bully pulpit.
A what pulpit?
The bully pulpit.
Pulley pulpit?
Bully, like I'm bullying you.
Oh yeah, we're totally bullies. We're totally bullies, and I every day I feel harassed by this community solely for my gender, and
I do my part. So.
Look, Fox, you can do whatever you want, babe. But no, seriously,
it's crazy. I mean,
serious here. The only harassment and bullying I've received is from the crazy psychos on the other side, and they're either negligent of the fact that I exist, or they're completely and utterly vile to me. I cannot even begin to address some of the insanity that I've gotten in my DMs from these psychos, but they're left, so it's okay, and I'm right because you slapped the right side label on me, even though you never got to know me as a person, you never got to understand my politics, you never got to know who I am as a person. You decided that I was right wing, and therefore, because the other person beating up on me is left wing, it's okay. What are you fucking hypocrites? You psychos! You literally disprove every point you go to make by not even acknowledging the reality that we live in over here on this side of it. You slapped a label on us, you decided it was good, and then you dismissed the crap that comes from the other side.
Yeah, and it's the next part here is where they talk about, where we mentioned before, where they connect Ben Shapiro to the alt-right. They talk about Jack Posobiec, who I don't really care for him at all. But websites specializing in right-wing pop culture expanded their Star Wars coverage to capture anti-TLJ. These platforms helped right-wing Star Wars outlets grow to a new audience. There is no comparable left-wing media ecosystem where anti-Rise of Skywalker feelings can thrive and be monetized to the same extent. Well, the thing
I thought
is,
we were the anti-Rise. I'm so confused.
that's the thing. That is the thing too. This false dichotomy of conservatives like Rise of Skywalker, all Fandom Menace are conservative, ergo Fandom Menace likes Rise of Skywalker.
I don't know that many people who like it. I really
don't know barely anyone.
I don't either. And wouldn't this theoretically, shouldn't this like unite us?
Yeah,
all left and all right. Shouldn't the left and right should come together if we all collectively hate this, right?
You'd think, but no, it's because they slapped the label on us, because this is about politics for them. This isn't about Star Wars for them as it is for us. They've completely and utterly misunderstood why we are freaking here. They decided we were alt-right. They decided we were right-wingers. They decided this was about politics. And they never got to understand the fact that we're not here because of that shit. We're here because we care about Star Wars. And we don't fucking like this movie. We don't like this movie. But you act like we do. You disingenuous asshats.
Yes, exactly. And then, oh, fuck, I lost my train of thought. No, it's all right. Blah, 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 blah. All right, I'll just read it. I'll see if it comes back to me. That's what I was going to say. They're talking about there's no comparable left-wing media ecosystem. The most mainstream publications are that ecosystem. That is why that there is this huge alternative media following on YouTube. It's because people didn't like what they were getting fed by the mainstream. That's why people aren't watching TV. That's why they aren't watching news. That's why they're watching what they want to on YouTube, because that is kind of the future. People are tired of what they're getting from mainstream outlets like the Washington Post, from watching their news, getting their news from CNN or Fox News or whatever. They're tired of that. So they are coming to YouTube to get perspectives that whether it's they appreciate or they trust or it resonates with them. That's why they're coming. That's why they're clicking on our videos.
Well, because they're sick of the echo chamber that is mainstream media. They're sick of getting literally only one perspective all of the time. So, I mean, you can't be mad at people for that, for wanting to hear something that isn't always the exact same thing and always promoting just like there are a lot of different views and perspectives, but we all come together in the Fandom Menace over just one thing, and that's like Star Wars. We like Star Wars and we're sick of this shit. That's it. The politics, we don't care about that aspect of it. And different people will give different spins on stuff because we have so many different perspectives and points of view, but they never got to know that. Assets.
True. And then the next part of this article basically talks about a lot of what that Medium article that was in defense of Raylos, basically. It talks about Data Racer manufacturing a hoax that Raylos were trying to murder J.J. Abrams or say they weren't going to murder him. And it's very clear. We all saw the tweets.
Boy, John Boyega fed into that hardcore, didn't he?
Yeah, and what's funny is that they'll say that he created this big, huge hoax like that, but yet it's totally cool to say that we drove Kelly Marie Tran off the internet when I don't even know what an Instagram is.
Well, did you see, there's a picture, there's one of the examples they use, almost one of the only examples they use of the harassment she received on Instagram. It said something like, it was just a comment on a picture of her. It said, "Why did you sexually assault Finn or why did you kiss Finn without his consent? That's sexual assault." And they circled that and said that
would ever come out of a Fandom Menacer's mouth.
No. And if it was, they were just being obnoxiously sarcastic.
Right.
No, and Mecca actually did a lot of footwork on this, and she traced this all back to some publicist company or something or other, basically implying that it was a wholly entirely created bunch of horse shit so they could write about it. And up until recently, she had all but denied it or never brought it up. they basically brought it up like 5 times to her in an interview, and she's like, yeah, but also I felt like it was this, which was her original excuse, was I wasn't living up to the standard of Hollywood. It's Hollywood's fault that I feel this way. Oh, but God forbid anybody get that message out of
we're not going to talk about that. No.
Yeah, she felt like comments she was getting about her character meant that everything she had thought growing up or trying to get into Hollywood, being a background character, was all actually true. That's what she said.
Not what she fucking said.
Yeah.
She said that she did not feel like she lived up to the Hollywood standard. Nothing about her character, nothing about what anybody on the internet or a troll said. She said
that's from when I read it. What it says to me, it says when I read things like her character shit, it's not. It just confirmed to me all those things that I thought about myself, that I was always going to be a background character and all that shit because of like you said, the things that Hollywood put on her. But nowhere in there is she talking about being personally harassed for anything. It's all about her character being like, I hate your character, Rose Tico.
Yes. And I think that that's something that they've never bothered, again, that's something they've never bothered to do is sit and listen to what the Fandom Menace is actually saying here, which is what we want are good characters. We don't have a problem with Kelly Marie Tran as a person. You owed it to Kelly Marie Tran, to Star Wars fans, to yourselves, to make good characters here. And if Kelly Marie Tran's character, Rose Tico, had been written well, done well, executed well, we would have embraced her, because we don't give a shit, because all we've said all along is give us a good damn story. That's all we've said. We would have embraced her, but you've never bothered to listen to what we were actually saying. You decided to assign labels and assign motives here. I feel nothing but sympathy for Kelly Marie Tran, and I've heard that all across the Fandom Menace. So, just nothing but sympathy for how screwed she got in this role. Not because I care what color she is, but because I would care if I were an actress and I went into this field and I decided, oh yes, I'm going to get into Star Wars. This is it. This is my big break, my big opportunity. I'm going to do Star Wars. And I got saddled with what she got saddled with. I'd be frustrated too. I feel nothing but upset for her and nothing but sympathy for her.
Yeah. And then the next part of this talks about John Boyega and how it was a troll account that coerced him, or that baited him into saying that he wanted to lay the pipe and all the hate against Raylos. So they don't want to blame John Boyega because he's a black person. Right. So they don't want to blame him at all. So they're blaming the person who incited him because he didn't really mean it. That's why he went after Raylos.
That's why he made that video.
Yeah. And then the whole next part is in defense of Raylo, using those studies saying that they're the ones that are actually being abused and all of that stuff.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Interesting. Inbreeders.
This kind of trolling is not motivated by affection for Rise of Skywalker. However, it will probably quiet many critics of the film. The backlash ends. Outrage against the latest Star Wars has not matched the campaign against TLJ. Given the middling success of Rise of Skywalker, it's possible that most viewers preferred TLJ. However, Rise of Skywalker is perceived as a film that slighted less powerful fans in an effort to please conservative fans. That may be enough to hold backlash in check.
You were wrong.
Yeah. Left-leaning fans that were disappointed in the film are, victimized. They're the victims. They're the poor woe is me. Right-leaning or just Fandom Menace people who didn't like Last Jedi are the abusive boyfriend in the relationship.
Yeah, we're Kylo Ren.
Yeah, just ridiculous. But anyway, so that is that article. That is that trash article trying to call out the Fandom Menace. I don't think it was very good. It was clearly poorly researched, clearly written by an imbecile, and that's disappointing. Her name is Bethany Lucina. If you guys want to follow her on Twitter, maybe you appreciate her opinion. I'm not sure, but yeah. So that's the article. I have it archived because I'm not going to give the Washington Post any money.
Ryan's a fracking troll, man. Go follow her on Twitter.
I'm a right-wing troll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Must.
That's the epitome of conservative trolling right there.
Well, and to go just what like Mary was saying earlier, when it comes to a character like Rose Tico, they're adding new characters when they haven't even bothered to build up the characters we already got.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the dad who's like, you go, hey dad, can you help me figure out how to use this tablet? And instead of showing you how to use the tablet, he just goes buys you a new tablet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'll
it's just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
That'll fix it, guys. Yeah. What's different about this one? I don't know.
I don't know. It might be easier to use. Just fucking figure it out.
I mean, and to be fair, that's the harder thing to do is make a good story, make good characters, spend the time to develop that. You know, I get it. But then when that doesn't work out, then that just be the argument. Not, well, you don't like him because he's black.
Yep. And then to what you were saying before, too, 19K Fox, that's exactly it. The hypocrisy, of course, we've seen this from the start. The hypocrisy is just astounding, but it is. It's funny how we were nothing but man babies and trolls and all this shit because we didn't like The Last Jedi, but supposedly since we do like The Rise of Skywalker and the left wing doesn't, they don't have the right to speak out about it.
No.
You know, they don't have a way.
Teresa's absolutely right. It was a hit piece. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said.
Yep.
Yeah. An amateur wrote this misinformed article. Yeah. It's very powerful. Let's see if I can find her actually. She's kind of scary. She has like 500 followers on Twitter. Wouldn't want to draw the ire of someone like that.
Tread lightly. Tread lightly.
Not followed by anyone I'm following. What a shock.
Weird.
And yeah, she thanks Katie Informal Majesty, the one who wrote that Medium article that says 4 years and all these different data points. What a waste of her time, because that was a retarded article as well. Unfortunate that these women wasted so much time in these things. But look here, we'll share it. Might as well. Here it is, Bethany Lucina, associate professor at the University of Rochester. I study conflict and ethnicity. Stack Overflow is my superpower. You just want to go to her website?
And she's whiter than a lily.
Of course, she is. Virtue signaling. She studies ethnicity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pequeña Finlandia. That's a cool, look at that. That's a little mouse droid.
Yeah, with a rainbow flag.
Joy, let's slap the freaking LGBT rainbow.
Okay, that's where we want.
Would you say, Mary? Say it like you mean it.
It's better now, guys. Look at that. It's better. We put a rainbow on it.
Got more colors.
None of your business says I study race wars.
That's good.
Jesus. There you go. Race and the region of the United States. Look at that. Well, you guys should check this out. It's very interesting.
How about I don't?
Yeah, it's not. It's horrible.
I also researched politics and American pop culture. I've investigated controversies involving Star Wars, Marvel movies, and the National Football League.
Wow.
There you go.
Everyone.
There you go. Here, I'll just
so this is the one we have to blame for calling us all sorts of names when it came to Captain Marvel, huh?
Yeah.
I've seen her before, so she has definitely written things before. I've seen the name. This is actually pretty funny. Caption this. It says, Ray is a Mary Sue. That's pretty funny. Joe Biden yelling at Elizabeth Warren. That's kind of funny. Wasn't her. She retweeted it. But there you go. If you guys ever want to check her out, feel free. She could use some extra follows. But there you go, guys. That's pretty much it. We've been going 2.5 hours already.
Oh, yeah.
But, God, that article's kind of a pain to get through. But what does it say? Woman wants to be black, says Ronan Blade.
Pretty much.
What's that lady's name?
Rachel Deschanel or Deschanel or yeah.
Zoe Deschanel?
No, the one that just said she was black.
Rachel Dolezal.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal. We got a Rachel on our hands. All right. But we are going to get wrapping up here soon. So why don't I let my guests, we'll go around and we will let them plug themselves.
Sorry.
Starting with 19 Kilo Fox.
I didn't really dress for that, but okay. I am 19K Fox on YouTube, 19K Fox 1 on Twitter and Instagram. I am a guy that does 2-minute movie reviews on current movies. So if you've got a couple minutes, swing by my channel, check it out. Hit the like if you don't mind. And if you like what I got to offer, subscribe. Ryan, once again, thanks for having me, brother.
Always, buddy. It's always a pleasure. And Fox is always very, hold on, let me get it. Fox is always very willing to come on anytime I ask, even if it's like last minute. So I always appreciate you, brother. And definitely check out his channel. We need to get him to 1,000 subscribers because he deserves it more than anyone else.
Get there when I get there.
Well, that is a true statement. But let's make it fast.
Okay.
And then Mary Mayhem.
Well, hi guys. I am Mary B. I am the mistress of mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Whammon card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem, where I talk about the newsy news stuff during the week, and on the weekends I have a whole lot of fun. And I am just 3 subs away from 6,700. So, hey.
Wow, look at that.
Get out there and sub to that woman.
She's gorgeous. What the hell's wrong with you? Sub me.
There you go. Well,
Where am I smelling salts?
You get her to 1,000, she'll make me a sandwich.
I'll make Fox's sandwich.
Shut up. You make me a sandwich.
Yep. So check out Mary. Not only does she talk about Star Wars, but she also talks about. She also has an awesome stream called Marioke, where it's karaoke with Mary Mayhem, and then she also does Shenanigans, where you can catch Tom nearly all the time over there. With it's like a comedy variety
it's my support
show.
Group.
Yeah. A lot of fun. It's my excuse to get inebriated on Saturdays. Really.
Batman shows up.
Yeah.
It does. And it's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Every
Fox
time.
will be there this Saturday coming up.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Awesome. And then Tom from Midnight's Edge, After Dark and Midnight's Edge.
Yeah, if you got the time, check us out. But be sure to check out these guys, of course. They're much more interesting than I am.
But well, Tom, you're just telling about how everyone loves you and how everyone likes you. Now,
That was sarcasm.
There you go. But no, Tom, I
I'm
appreciate
like
you
Charlie
popping on.
fucking Brown, man. You kidding me? Constantly chasing that little redhead, getting in a fucking rock for Halloween.
You have the hair for it.
That's right.
That's true. But well, thanks for coming on, man. Last minute, just saw you in chat, and people were demanding it. People were demanding that you come in, so I do appreciate it. Drunk 3PO is...
I'm humbled on that part.
Drunk 3PO says, why are you responding to my Twitter when you were live streaming? I'm a man of many talents.
He's multitasking.
I am multitasking indeed, sir. But again, before we wrap up, hey, make sure you guys, if you haven't already subscribed to these guys, if you're not subscribed to me, why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button?
Make sure you got bells
on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because I try to put out 3 videos a day. It's at least 2 typically. So
it isn't a day that goes by that I notice that I'm not unsubscribed, but my notifications have been turned off.
Yeah, that is weird. YouTube is weird. There's no doubt. Sometimes notifications don't even go out. Supposedly you get 3 a day, but sometimes I've had videos that got more than that. It's just weird. Yeah. But hey, thank you guys for being here. Let me thank my wonderful patrons one more time before we go. Thank you so much to my patrons, Teresa Martin, George Big Dick Lucas, Mexican Iron Man, Lost Jedi 22, Neo Valentine, and D Larkin, Mary Mayhem. What an ass. What a bitch. What a cuck. Do you like it that I say that right after your name, Mary? Or do you would you like me to shift that?
He's a cool guy, so yeah.
Okay.
And I know I'm a bitch, so whatever.
Gotcha. Rosetta Allen.
I always saw you as more of a cuck.
Bionic Belly Button, RC from the NYC, Riff Magos, Thick Karen, The Geek Blend, AFK Bard, Seth Saunders, Kyle Hopkins, Alex McCarthy, Trev Fishbein, Geeky Candy, Wesley Simple, and Mark Steven. Y'all are awesome. I appreciate the hell out of you guys and everyone in chat that's been with us the whole time. You guys are awesome too. Actually, I think I know something that's going on tonight. Let me send you to another channel. Since you're all here anyway, why don't we send you to another channel that will really appreciate it.
Well.
Fatal J. Fatal J, Keeper of the Force, is going on right now. Why don't you guys go over there? Yeah. I'm gonna put the link in chat. Go over there and say that you got sent here from Ryan's stream, that RK Outpost sent you, whatever you want to say. Let me put that in chat a couple times. Go over there, guys, and kind of raid their stream. Let's see what we can do to this stream. That'll be awesome. I know those guys would really appreciate it. So check out those links that I am putting there. My Nerdy Home says, Foxy Mayhem forever.
That's right.
There you go. The shipping continues. Praise be to you. Well, thank you, Dr. Jagus. And everybody, Raging Rhino again. Thanks, brother. Thanks for being here. One more time. There is that link. Go there, guys. And we will talk to you later.